on internet. There we go.
58 degrees, an overcast day from Ray Fisher Stadium at the Wilpon Baseball Complex here just south of downtown Ann Arbor. My name's Zach Linfield, joined alongside my broadcast partner today and, well, former roommate Stevie MacGregor is alongside me here today. Michigan and Western Michigan is on tap here from Ray Fisher Stadium. And, well, let's see if the Wolverines can ride this bit of a hot streak that they hit about a week and a half ago. It began with the Bradley series where they played relatively well, and then, well, they dropped the game against Akron. A few days later, we kind of all expected that Penn State would come in here and likely take a game, maybe two. Michigan swept them out of the way. And since then, they have won 6 of 7 games. They lost their last game. That was Sunday against Illinois. But for the most part, this team riding the coattails of a very hot start to Big Ten play, Stevie.
Yeah, Michigan's been, ever since conference play kicked off, Michigan has found another gear. Disappointing loss at Illinois to finish off that series, but it's been an encouraging start to Big Ten play. And against a slightly inferior opponent here in the Broncos, looking to continue that momentum. And interesting to note, the Broncos have already played 5 fellow Big Ten teams, Iowa in a 3-game set and Michigan State bookending that. So they're in those games, the Broncos are 0-5, so Michigan's going to look to make that 0-6 on the year for them.
The Wolverines have taken the field. They wear their home whites this afternoon on what is an overcast day from Ray Fisher Stadium here in Ann Arbor. Western Michigan wearing their pinstriped gray uniforms with their white helmets. Michigan, as we've mentioned, the all-whites with their home blue caps. Well, let's check on the starting lineup for Western Michigan here this afternoon. Leading off for the Broncos is the left fielder, Jackson Kitchen. Batting second, the center fielder, Will Morrison. Batting third, it's the third baseman, Cade Sullivan. Batting fourth, the right fielder, Dylan Nevar. Batting fifth, the first baseman, Josh Schweinhart. Batting sixth, the shortstop, Jimmy Allen. Batting seventh, the designated hitter, Bobby Deering. Batting eighth, the catcher, Ben Campos. And batting ninth, rounding out the order for the Broncos, is the second baseman, Grady Mee. Well, that Broncos starting 9, they are getting set to face off against the 22-year-old native of Gloucester, New Jersey, Jacob Denner, who makes his 6th start here today.
Yeah, and in Denner's last appearance against Illinois on Sunday, he was roughed up a bit in 2 2.3, giving up 2 runs while striking out 3, so he'll look to improve on that, but probably not going to be a super long day for Denner coming off of that extended appearance on Sunday.
We'll see a handful of lefties here today from Western Michigan's starting lineup, but Jackson Kitchen has stepped into the left-handed batter's box. He's ready to go. Jacob Denner toes the mound and fires home, and we are underway from Ann Arbor with the fastball called for a strike up in the zone. Jackson Kitchen bats .233 on the season from the left side. His white gloves grips the bat from the left side. Denner fires home, misses high and outside with the fastball. He kind of matches Connor O'Halloran in terms of velocity at about 88 miles an hour on his fastball. 2 different left-handed pitchers for Michigan, and Denner works out of the stretch to start this game. Popped up bunt just behind home plate. Chasing it is the catcher, Voss, and he can't make a diving catch.
Yeah, great effort there from Voss as he laid out, almost diving into the Western Michigan dugout. But it's a disappointing bunt there if you're Kitchen.
Let's check on the defensive alignment for Michigan. Left to right in the outfield is Flores, Kim, and Longo. Across the infield at third is Voigt. Vanner Mortal is on the other corner at first base, playing up the middle. Jeffress at short, Burton at second. And just mentioned, Voss is behind the plate catching Denner. The 1-2 to Kitchen. Swung on and chopped towards the right side of the infield. Burton right between the legs. A quick throw over to Vanner Mortal at first base. And 1 up and 1 down for Jacob Denner to begin this day against Western Michigan.
Yeah, good start there. Good start there for Denner. Attacking early and often and getting a a nice routine play to get the first out of the inning.
Here's Will Morrison, who steps in to the right side. Denner fires a strike into the low and away corner against the right-handed batter. A strong 362 clip for Morrison on the year. He's driven home 18 runs as he fouls a fastball back to the screen. It was low and away, just got a hold of it, and he is quickly in an 0-2 hole. Doesn't walk very often. 24 strikeouts to 7 walks. Denner from the stretch delivers home the 0-2. A breaking ball misses low and outside. That one read 83.
Yeah, and Denner, well, not a power pitcher, definitely has strikeout stuff, as he has 29 strikeouts in 30 innings this year, averaging almost a K per 9, or 9 Ks per 9, excuse me.
Here's the 1-2 from Jacob Denner. Right down the middle, popped up left center field into shallow left center. Jeffress called one man off, but here comes Kim ranging, and he makes a snow-coned catch. The lefty brings it in. 2 up and 2 away for Jacob Denner here, top 1 from Ray Fisher Stadium.
Yeah, and a real good start here from Denner, building that confidence early, getting 2 routine plays, just making it nice and easy on his defense.
Here's Cade Sullivan stepping into the box. This is by far the best power hitter for Western Michigan. Stevie and I talked about it before the game here today. 8 home runs to his name, which is by far the team's leader, as Denner misses away with the fastball to the righty.
Yeah, but with those 8 home runs, there's a bit of swing and miss to his game with 32 strikeouts on the season.
Calls hometown in Naperville, Indiana. Here's the 1-0. Right down the middle, slapped into right center field. Long run for Kim, ranging over. Just misses a diving catch under his glove. Bounces up into the right center field wall. Rounding second, Sullivan. He'll head for 3. Ted Burton's relay throw is delayed, and it will come in as a sliding triple for Cade Sullivan. A 2-out 3-bagger gives Western Michigan an opportunity here, top of the first inning.
Yeah, and that one was just pieced up. And Kim shaded a little towards left center. Had a long run, as that was kind of in the gap, in the right center gap, and unable to make the diving catch. Would have been a tremendous play had he come up with it.
That's the first triple of the season for Cade Sullivan. So now Nevar gets a chance to drive in a run. Denner misses low and away with the slider. Blocked up nicely by Voss. Another left-handed bat, Dylan Nevar, bats .204 through 25 games for the Broncos. Denner delivers, fastball just off the plate. We'll call it about a ball's width off. Denner has pretty much eliminated that windup that we've seen in previous years. He works from the far left side of the rubber from both Stevie and I's perspective here today. The 2-0 pitch. Slider that misses in the dirt. We'll call it the turf here from Ray Fisher Stadium. 3 balls, no strikes.
Yeah, and Denner a little hesitant after that 3-bagger. Not really going after Nevar, excuse me.
3-0 pitch, got to work back if you're Denner. Fastball glides into the top of the zone for a called strike. Our umpires today behind the plate, Sal Giacomo Antonio. First base, Aaron Woodbury. Stuart Hall at second. Robert Lathian is over at third. 3 balls and a strike. Jacob Denner rests his glove just above the belt loop. 3-1 popped up left side of the infield. This should end the inning. Voigt under it, called off by Jeffress, the transfer. He makes the catch, and that will end the frame. Western Michigan threatens with the triple. No runs across the board. Jacob Denner gets the job done. The Wolverines will head to the plate for the first time coming up next here on WCBN Sports. A scoreless first inning for Jacob Denner, and the Michigan defense brings them to the plate for the first time. And here is the starting lineup for the Wolverines, who have won 6 of their last 7 ball games. Leading off the shortstop, Cody Jeffress. Batting second, the second baseman, Ted Burton. Batting third and shifting from cleanup today is the right fielder, Joe Longo. Batting cleanup, the DH, Dylan Stanton. Batting fifth, first baseman, Jack Vandermortel. Batting sixth, third baseman, Mitch Voigt. Batting seventh today is Tito Flores. He plays in left field. Eighth, the catcher, Nate Voss. And rounding out the order for Tracy Smith is the center fielder, Jonathan Kim. That crew set to face off against the 23-year-old native of Woodhaven, Michigan, Drew Champaigniak for Western Michigan. Champaigniak, 6'5", a 205-pound left-hander, a redshirt junior. Cody Jeffress steps into the box. Champaigniak climbs into the glove, and we're underway in the bottom of the first. Ooh, high and inside. That got a piece of Jeffress. And it's a free bag and a free base runner for Michigan to lead off the bottom of the first inning.
Yeah, that's been the story of Jeffrey's season so far. Getting on base a lot with 17 walks and only 16 strikeouts this far.
So a quick enter and exit for Jeffress in the left-handed batter's box. That brings up right-hander Ted Burton. Slightly offset stance. Slight bend in the knees as he takes fastball for a strike. Left-hander against left-hander here today. Sal Giacomo-Antonio, our home plate umpire, calls time briefly, and Champaigniak resets on the bump. Works from the far left side of the rubber, stares over at the runner at first base. High leg kick, delivers a curveball, low and inside, but for a called strike. Ted Burton steps out of the box, tilts his head left, looks down to Tracy Smith, and resets himself. A quick 0-2 hole. Champaigniak tries to work down Ted Burton. 0-2 misses high and outside. He just didn't get over the slider.
Yeah, and Burton got hot over the weekend, going 4 for 12 in that Illinois series, while driving in 3 runs.
He also scored 1 run apiece in all 3 games in the series against the Illini. Fastballs roped down the left field line, but just foul.
Yeah, that one just got a little too far in on his hands. Not able to steer that one fair.
I'll tell you what, if that was fair, they're likely still running. The left fielder, Kitchen, is playing nearly into the corner in left center field. The 1-2 pitch popped up high into the air between home plate and first base. Both Campos and Swinehart give chase, but see it bounce into the Western Michigan dugout. So more life for Ted Burton at 1-2.
Yeah, and Burton doing a nice job of battling here. Making Champaigniak work.
This is new for Drew Champaigniak right now as Ted Burton waits on the 1-2. Here's the delivery home. Curveball just misses, and Campos tried to frame it back into the zone. But Mr. Giacomo-Antonio said no, sir. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. This is the first start for Champaigniak since 2019. Burton sends one high into the air right field. This is playable for Nevar. Drifts into right center, and the lefty makes the grab for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, and Burton just got a little underneath that one. Nice at bat, though. Battled well after going down 0-2 and was able to make the defense work.
And that'll be something that we keep an eye on, is the pitch count today for Champaigniak. As I just mentioned shortly, his first start since 2019, his freshman year. A weak throw over to first base to check on Jeffress. 0-0 ball game here from Ann Arbor. Michigan, Western Michigan. Jacob Denner allowed a triple with 2 outs to Cade Sullivan in the top of the first, but was able to work around that. Ball low and outside. Breaking ball to Joe Longo, who owns the best batting average in the starting 9 today for Michigan at .307. Champaigniak comes home, bouncing ball into the dirt, blocked up nicely by Campos. Hitless in his last 2 ball games. He is only 1 of 11 over his last 3. played and started in all 3 games in Champaign over the weekend. Michigan took the Friday game, took the Saturday game. Then the defense faltered a little bit on Sunday to break a good stretch for Michigan. The 2-0 pitch. Bouncing ball towards short. Allen ranges to his left, flips underhand to me, over to first base to Swinehart. That's a 6-4-3 double play. So well done by Drew Champaigniak to get himself out of a hit by a pitch to the first batter of the inning, Cody Jeffress. It's all zeros here after 1 from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. We'll be right back on WCBN Sports. This is Michigan Baseball. Scoreless through a full frame here from Ray Fisher Stadium, just south of downtown Ann Arbor. On a slightly overcast, but a beautiful day and what is a beautiful week for weather here in the state of Michigan.
Beautiful is a loose term. 50.
Very pleasant.
Okay, yes. For Michigan, very pleasant.
Supposed to be around 50 to 60 degrees all week. Slight rain showers here and there. Josh Swinehart leads off for the Broncos. First pitch to him from Jacob Denner. Fastball that rides up and away right at the hands. Swinehart bats at .259 out of the 5 spot for Western. The 1-0. Driven high into the air, deep left field. That ball's back. Flores will watch it, and that one will go. It's a 1-0 early lead for Western Michigan on Swinehart's 3rd bomb of the year. And the Broncos own a 1-0 lead here from Ray Fisher.
Yeah, Swinehart got a pitch that he liked over the part of the plate, and he did not miss that ball. That ball was gone immediately. Got over that tall wall in left field very quickly.
It was flying in an odd direction because it looked like it was going to potentially hit the wall as Jimmy Allen, the shortstop, steps in and takes a strike. It looked like it may hit the wall for a moment. I think Flores thought a pretty similar idea. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss on an outside fastball to the right-handed Allen. And it looked like it may hit the wall if it wasn't for that angle between left center field and left field on the big brick wall. That ball still might be in the park, but because of the 45-degree angle, it still made it over that wall. Here's the 1-1. Giacomo Antonio thought about calling strike, but it was just below the knees. 2 balls and a strike, or excuse me, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Our scoreboard here in right field faltering a bit. 1-0 Western Michigan on the home run moments ago from Josh Swinehart. Fastball way outside. Mitch Voss had to leave his crouch and head out. Count is even at 2-2. Wider stance for the shortstop, Allen. He laces a line drive over the overhang here on the right side of Ray Fisher Stadium for a foul ball.
Yeah, and just a defensive swing there from Allen, just fighting something off, trying to get a better pitch to hit.
2 balls and 2 strikes, 271 average for Allen. The count's now full. Fastball that was way high and outside, and again, Nate Voss had to leave his crouch.
Yeah, so far Denner's had a little trouble locating that fastball deep into counts.
Here's the payoff pitch from Denner. Swing and a miss. Outside fastball to Jimmy Allen. That one was at 787.
Yeah, that's right on.
He just tried to reach out for it, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Right on cue. As I say, he's having trouble locating the fastball deeper into counts. He locates one right over that outside black and gets a swing and miss.
So Bobby Deering, the designated hitter, bats for Western. He looks at a changeup from Denner above the zone. Not exactly where you'd want to leave a change. But Deering lays off. It looked like he was pretty much take all the way there on the 0-0 pitch. Denner working relatively quickly to start this game. A foul ball right over our heads in the broadcast booth. A ball and a strike, fastball there. He's slowing it down just a touch. I think that's something that we've seen here early from Jacob Denner. Is he got the fastball location pretty well in the first inning, and he hasn't hit with it with the same consistency here in the second. That's a breaking ball that's floated high into the air left center field. Flores and Kim calling each other off, and Flores ends up making the catch in left center about 15 strides away from the wall.
Yeah, and so far, I will say, Western Michigan's been putting some good swings on the ball. Obviously the home run and the triple, but they've been driving it to some deeper parts of the ballpark. But Denner's doing a good job playing to his strengths and really using that off-speed stuff very effectively so far.
The catcher, Ben Campos, is in the box now. Pretty strong bend of the knees for him in his crouch. Called strike. I think Giacomo Antonio reached down a little bit for that called strike, but I'm sure Jacob Denner will not be anyone to complain about that call. 0-1. 176 batting average for Campos, who swings and misses at a fastball away. So I think right as you said it, Stevie, Denner's began locating that fastball with at least 1 strike on the board.
Yeah, and Campos on the season only 17 at bats, so getting some rare playing time so far.
Another fastball, and he's just trying to pound him with it. That's fouled back to the screen. We'll stick around at 0-2. What do you think? He comes back with it one more time? All 3 fastballs so far to Ben Campos.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Campos can really catch up to it so far. So maybe something a little up and out of the zone to get him to chase.
The last one at 87, the 0-2 pitch, he tried to pin the outside corner, and I think all of the infielders for Michigan were at least 3 steps back to the dugout. They've got to return to their spots. They didn't get the call there, 1-2. Denner quickly out of the stretch, comes set, just above the belt, the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. That'll end the frame. But Western Michigan strikes first. Jacob Denner knocks down 2 with 2 swinging Ks. But not after Josh Swinehart goes yard to make it a 1-0 Western Michigan lead. We'll be right back for Michigan Baseball on WCBN Sports. One nothing lead for Western Michigan as we head to the bottom of the second inning from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. A very pleasant day here at the Wilpon Baseball Complex. in front of what is a pretty good crowd for a Tuesday night ball game. Michigan has made these midweek games free for all fans in attendance.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, 50-degree weather in Michigan, it's not usually baseball weather, so you got to incentivize it a little bit.
Dylan Stanton takes fastball up and in from Drew Champaign, the 23-year-old native of Woodhaven, Michigan, in his second inning of work for Western Michigan. Stanton, a slight flex in the knees, takes curveball low.
Yeah, and for this Wolverine offense, you got to be looking to get to Champaign, because he's, even with that scoreless first frame, still has a season ERA of 10.
Ted Burton put a charge into a fastball into the deepest part of right center field. Comes right back with a backdoor curveball to Dylan Stanton for a called strike. It's now 2-1.
Yeah, that's a good 2-0 pitch there from Champaign. Sitting fastball, hit him with a backdoor curve.
2-1 pitch. Doesn't really throw the fastball all that hard. He's anywhere between 84 and 87. Pretty similar to Denner, but Denner's a little more consistent, higher into that range. It's 3 balls and 1 strike. That was at the bill of the cap, up and away. Michigan looking to lead off the second inning, a lot like they did with the first, with a walk. But Giacomo Antonio, our umpire behind home plate, has a different idea. Fastball low and in for a called strike. Last 5 games for the designated hitter for Michigan today, batting cleanup Stanton. 2 for 6. Swung on and missed it into the dirt. Here's a throw from Campos down to first base for Swinehart, who hit the home run in the top of the second inning, and there's the first strikeout for Drew Champaign.
Yeah, that was a good pitch there from Champaign. 3-2, usually looking at something in the zone, coming down with a curveball in the dirt. Not something you see very often, and Stanton much obliged to swing at it.
Righty, righty, righty for Michigan, 4, 5, and 6 in the second inning of this ball game. Jack Vanner Mortal into the box. Takes a fastball low and in, similar spot to the strike 2 call against Dylan Stanton.
Yeah.
Quick 0-1 hold to Jack Vanner Mortal.
Yeah, and interesting to see Western Michigan kind of putting on a pseudo shift against Vanner Mortal with the shortstop playing all the way to the left side.
Curveball bounces into Campos,
leaving a big hole right where the shortstop would usually play, kind of just to the left of second base.
And the outfielders play Vanner Mortal straight up. Kitchen, Morrison, and Nevar in the outfield today for Western Michigan. There's a curveball that's hit high into the air, deep left field. Does it have the carry? Kitchen back, looks up, it's off the wall. It hit the yellow portion of the wall that reads frames in left center. Vanner Mortal digging for 3, and he's in there with an awkward slide.
Yeah, and that was an adventure out there for Kitchen. He was looking up, looking every direction. Not sure if he just wasn't able to see that ball very well off the bat, or if he just thought it was gone straight away, but Wolverines will certainly take it.
Now here's a bat that showed us quite a bit of power as of late for Michigan. Mitch Voigt steps into the box. First career grand slam over the weekend against Illinois. 3-game series in Champaign. Curveball low and in just on the shoe tops of Michigan's third baseman. Michigan took 2 of the first 3 in that series, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fastball rides low. Stopped by the catcher, Campos. 8-game hit streak snapped in that loss against the Fighting Illini for the freshman Voigt in the Sunday ball game. Here's the 2-0 pitch. High leg kick delivery. Ball gets away from Campos. Vanner Mortal saw it the whole way. And Mitch Voigt, give him the green light here on 3-0.
I don't know. Vanner Mortal's been having trouble locating so far in this inning, getting first batter to 3 balls, and so I'm making him take this one.
Here is the 3-0 offering. Oh, that's way outside. Vanner Mortal intelligently stays over at third. It was so far outside that the catcher Campos had no shot at it. And remember, the backstop here at Ray Fisher Stadium is made of brick. So it bounced right back perfectly to the catcher at home plate. So Mitch Voigt takes first base on a 4-pitch walk. And Michigan will have runners on the corners for Tito Flores, who began the season in the 2-hole. He has since been slid down to 7.
Yeah. And our discussion on whether to give him the green light, ultimately irrelevant with a pitch like that.
So Tito into the right-handed batter's box. Looks at strike 1. Just below the knees, but Sal Giacomo offers Champaign a free strike to begin the inning.
Yeah, baseball's a funny sport. After an ugly 4-pitch walk, coming back with a nice fastball down low.
The 0-1. Tito swings and drives one in the deep center field. Morrison on the run. He's back to the track. The wall makes the catch. Tagging from third base is Vanner Mortal. Mitch Voigt scampers back to first. And we've got ourselves a tie baseball game on Tito Flores' 15th RBI of the campaign.
Yeah, and a real good swing there from Tito Flores, staying right on that curveball and driving it to the deepest part of Ray Fisher Stadium. But just a nice play out there in center. Out there in center by Morrison.
And Mitch Voigt certainly got a generous tag off first base just in case that ball were to get over the head of Morrison, who gave good chase to that ball in the deepest part of right center field. Nate Voss takes a fastball for a ball high and away.
Yeah, I mean, after the adventure that Kitchen had and left on the Van Remodel triple, you got to do your due diligence.
1-0, same spot. 2 balls and no strikes. Tell you what, Campos has done a good job behind the plate. We're only an inning and 2 outs into this game for Michigan at the plate. And he showed pretty good ability to stop what looks like some pretty wicked movement on the curveball. Shoots one through the gap right side. Mitch Voigt rounds second. He's going to head for third and challenge the arm of Nevar. And it was a good decision because the cutoff man, Allen, comes in there to stop the ball just behind the pitcher's mound. Runners back on the corners on the first hit of the season for Nate Voss.
Yeah, just a good piece of hitting there. Hitting it right through that gap between the first and second baseman. Not trying to do too much with it on a 2-0 pitch.
Well, we're going to get to see lefty on lefty here with the center fielder Jonathan Kim climbing into the box. And he is swinging a bat that is absolutely on fire. His last 5 games, he's 10 for 19. His average on the scoreboard in right field reads .455. He takes a curveball for a strike just above the knees, right down the middle. 2 away, 1-1 ball game from Ray Fisher Stadium, bottom of the second inning. Zach Linfield with Stevie MacGregor here talking to you on a pleasant Tuesday afternoon. Kim fouls a fastball back to the screen, wears sunglasses today, white gloves, white cleats, in Michigan's home whites against Western Michigan in their gray uniforms with the pinstripes in a non-conference matchup between the two. Here's the 0-2 from Champaign. Curveball way outside. Again, Campos doing a good job of keeping the ball in front of him on all pitches that aren't 5 feet out of the batter's box.
Yeah, Campos doing a good job using his environment, too.
Here's his 1-2. Curveball towards second base, played in between the legs of me. An easy toss over to first base to Swinehart. Michigan evens this one up. They leave runners on the corners, and Champaign does his job to keep 2 on the base paths. 1-1 ball game from Ray Fisher Stadium here on WCBN Sports. We're through 2 here in Ann Arbor. Jacob Denner is back out to the mound, getting set to face off against 9-1-2 from Western Michigan.
It'll be interesting to see how deep Denner goes into this game, given the, as I stated earlier, pitched 2 1/3 on Sunday. So be interesting to see what the leash that Tracy Smith gives him.
Right-handed batter Grady Mee, who made the play to end the inning, lines one right at Mitch Voigt over at third base, who goes down to his knees to make a catch. An efficient first out of the 3rd inning for Jacob Denner.
Yeah,
he got a hold of that one, didn't he?
Yeah, he pieced that ball up, was right on it, but Mitch Voigt had him played perfectly. Nice reaction, got down to one knee, and wow, yeah, this is just a nice play. That's baseball right there. That's why they call it the hot corner.
He plays in on the grass for the leadoff man, Kitchen, who squares to bunt, and he bunted through a strike.
Yeah. Kitchen bunted one well foul in his first at-bat, so it'll be interesting to see if he sticks with it or tries to swing away.
Yeah, that induced a long run from Nate Voss just for it to bounce into the dugout. It's a pop-up right side of the infield. Vandermortel sits under it, makes a catch, and Jack Vandermortel, who hit the triple in the bottom of the 2nd inning, was the Wolverine that scored to tie up this ball game after the Swinehart home run in the top of the 2nd. So Jacob Denner, he had thrown 30 pitches through 2 innings, and has thrown 4 pitches here. 3 pitches, that is, in the 3rd inning. Keeping his pitch count efficient. Line drive foul off the bat of Will Morrison.
Yeah. I mean, just attacking these hitters, even though me got a hold of it. Mitch Voigt able to make a nice defensive play. That's how you want to attack the lineup right there. Go right at them. Have your defense make plays behind you.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Morrison. Taken for a fastball, strike. Little low and inside, but Jacob Denner back to his wristband as him and Nate Voss communicate with each other about the 0-2 pitch. Struck out 2 so far through 2 2/3. Here's the 0-2 pitch. He wastes him, got him on a fastball high and away, and Morrison swung straight through it. Jacob Denner has now struck out 3, makes for a quick top of the 3rd inning, and an efficient one at that. Wolverines back to the plate when we come back on WCBN Sports. So to begin the bottom of the 3rd inning, Michigan will already see a new arm from Western Michigan. It's the right-handed pitcher, Nick Crandell. So just 2 innings of work for Drew Champaigniak, the brother of Michigan State Champaigniak, who Michigan saw in starting action a year ago.
And Crandell's had a rough start to the season, pitching through 6 innings to an ERA of 17, and it's been a lot of walks, 10 through 6 1/3 innings.
From the right side, raises his knee, come home, and it's a fastball low to Cody Jeffress, who only saw one pitch in his first at-bat, and he was hit on the arm by the starting pitcher, Champaign. A quick set, delivers home, does Crandell. Line to the right side, off one bounce, diving stop left side for the second baseman, Mee, who delivers a strong throw to first. A nice play by the second baseman, Grady Mee, to retire Jeffress to begin the inning.
Yeah, Mee returning the favor after Voigt robbed him of a hit by robbing Jeffries of a hit.
Final stat line for Drew Champaign, just 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, a walk, and a strikeout. Here's Ted Burton, who almost bites on a breaking ball in on the hands, but it's called for a strike regardless. A quick 0-1 hole for Ted Burton, whose average now reads .290 on the year. Crandell hits another spot, this one on the low inside corner, and thinks Sal Giacomo-Antonio, the home plate umpire, likes what this kid's doing to begin the inning. It's 0-2.
Yeah, and Crandell not going to overpower you, only about 80 to 81 on that fastball.
The 0-2 is just fouled off. It makes its way into the press box on the right side for our friends in the video room.
Who knows, maybe we'll get lucky making another announcer catch.
You made one before?
No.
No?
No. I wish.
The 0-2 from Crandell. Swung on and tipped into the glove for strike 3. So there's his first strikeout of the day. Champaign, a decent strikeout pitcher from the left side with good breaking ball action, only had 1. And it takes Nick Crandell just 2 batters, that is, to get his first. Here's Joe Longo, who lifts one into the air right field, but that'll slice foul into the parking lot.
Ooh, watch it. Ooh.
We talk about it every
dings
game,
a car,
don't we?
too. Yep. The parking lot to the the parking lot to Ray Fisher Stadium, one of the most dangerous places to be a car.
The 0-1. High into the air, left side, into shallow left center. 3 Broncos giving chase, having some trouble with it, but Morrison finally makes the grab as he was back on his heels to make the catch. So Joe Longo goes down, and so do the Wolverines in order here in the third. Good job by Nick Crandell, the first relief pitcher of the day for Western Michigan. And Jacob Denner will return to the bump for the Wolverines to begin the 4th inning shortly here on WCBN Sports. We're in the top of the 4th inning from Ray Fisher Stadium here in Ann Arbor. Jacob Denner back out to the bump after only allowing 1 run through 3 so far, and it was to the man at the plate now, Cade Sullivan, who swings and misses at strike 1. A fastball low in the zone. Denner has taken maybe a mile per hour or 2 off the fastball since the opening frame of this ball game. His fastball was the one that got crushed by Sullivan back in the 2nd inning. That triple wasn't able to score. A ball and a strike for Jacob Denner against Sullivan here. You will also see Josh Swinehart in this inning. 2 balls and a strike now as a fastball rides low and away. So the 2 hits allowed so far by Jacob Denner, the triple and the home run. Sullivan leads off, and Swinehart due up third. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Denner. Swung on and missed low and away. It's a beautiful pitch and a beautiful location for Jacob Denner.
Yeah, and so far in this at-bat, a steady diet of fastballs, not shying away from Sullivan, even with that pop. That's what we like to see from Denner, as he's been able to locate the fastball a little bit better as this game's gone on.
The 2-2. It's way outside.
Man, I should really just stop talking about his fastball location.
Seems like every time you say it, it flips back and forth. So if you want to say it again on the 3-2.
Yeah, this fastball location's been poor in the last 1 pitches.
Here's the payoff pitch. It's a fastball right down the middle, but fouled up and out of play as Vander Mortel gave chase for a moment.
Yeah, do not be mistaken, folks. The announcer jinx is a very real thing. Be interesting to see if he'll go off speed 3-2 here.
See if Cade Sullivan goes fishing. Nope, it's a fastball, and it's high into the air center field. But right at Jonathan Kim, scampers in for a moment, makes the grab, and puts away out number 1.
And it seems Denner has kind of started to shy away from the off-speed stuff a little bit. I mean, that was a 7-pitch at-bat, all fastballs, so be interesting to see if that's the new plan of attack for this Western Michigan lineup, or if it's just the plan of attack for maybe a guy like Sullivan with all that pop.
Now lefty on lefty with Denner and Nevar going to battle. A fastball up in the zone, but for a called strike. Michigan has some action down in their bullpen for the first time. It's John Torella. The 0-1 pitch. That's bounced on the ground left side. A chest-high bounce right over to the third baseman, Voigt. And Vander Mortel almost came off the bag, ranging to his right. But makes the catch, and there's 2 away.
I think that
Tracy Smith is going to go to the pen here. They're not going to give Jacob Denner a second opportunity to face off against the man who hit the home run back in the second inning. The infield comes together, and Tracy Smith will take the ball from Jacob Denner. So, Denner makes it through 3 2/3 innings. Here from Ann Arbor, a strong start. But enter John Torella when we come back on WCBN. Tracy Smith opts to go to the bullpen for the first time this afternoon. John Torella is the new pitcher for Michigan. The 6'4", 205-pound senior hailing from Ellicott City, Maryland, and Mount St. Joseph High School.
Yeah, has not gotten a ton of work so far this season. Only 6 2/3 innings, and he's had a little bit of trouble in those 6 2/3, giving up 10 runs for an ERA of 13.50 on the year. But looking to get some, he's going to get right into the action against Swinehart, who, as previously mentioned, is responsible for the only Broncos run so far today.
So Tracy Smith opts to go with a righty rather than a lefty against Josh Weinhardt. First pitch from Torella. Bounces into the catcher, Nate Voss, for a ball. Big body, Josh Weinhardt, 6'4", 210. From Matawan, Michigan. Here's the 1-0. Swung on and missed. That was a little above the dirt. Ended up on the turf in front of Nate Voss. Nonetheless, Torella evens up the count at 1 apiece. Here's the 1-1 offering. Bounce to the left side towards the third base coach for Western Michigan. Mitch Voigt gave it a good chase, but well out of play.
Yeah.
And Torella's got an advantage here at 1-2.
It'll be interesting if he stays with that fastball, tries to go to something off speed. That fastball sitting around 89, 90 miles an hour usually.
Comes set with his feet pretty much just close together. Comes over the top. Breaking ball is popped up right field. Playable for Longo. And John Torella gets the 1 out that he's called upon to get here in the 4th inning. Still a 1-1 ball game from Ray Fisher Stadium here in Ann Arbor. Wolverine bats coming to the plate when we return on WCBN. And a game moving relatively quickly. Michigan back to the box in the bottom of the 4th inning with their cleanup man Dylan Stanton leading off. Relief pitcher for Western Michigan, Nick Crandell, back to work. And Stanton takes strike 1 up and inside in the zone. And Zach Linfield here with Stevie MacGregor on a pleasant Tuesday afternoon in Ann Arbor. Slight flex of the knees for Dylan Stanton. Holds the bat pretty horizontal on the shoulder. Diving stop third base by Sullivan and makes a heck of a throw over to first base. That is a beautiful play by Cade Sullivan over at third. And as you mentioned earlier, with Mitch Voigt making a nice play, that's why they call it the hot corner.
It doesn't get much better than that right there. Had him played perfectly, laid out full extension, able to, and that ball was just hit so hard that he was able to, that Sullivan was able to get up and throw a strike over to first in plenty of time.
And that is the only hard contact that Crandell has allowed so far. Now he's only seen 4 batters as Vanner Mortal takes a fastball in on the knees. He made easy work of the top 3 Wolverines in the order in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Vanner Mortal shoots one right back up the middle, but right into that shift that we talked about earlier that we saw in his first at-bat. And Grady Mee crouches, makes the catch, and puts Vanner Mortal away. And just like the 3rd inning, Nick Crandell is just maneuvering through what is now the middle of the Michigan order with Mitch Voigt due up.
Yeah, and for somebody who'd struggled with control this much throughout the early season, he's doing a good job of working over the plate.
Voigt saw a 4-pitch walk in his first at-bat and shoots a foul ball back to the screen for strike 1. Pretty much just been fastball, fastball, fastball here in the 4th inning from Nick Crandell. A high leg kick in delivery. Sees a fastball miss up and away.
Yeah, he's definitely just trying to go right at these hitters, and he's giving them some pitches to hit. As we've seen 2 balls that have been hit pretty well so far this inning.
Here's his 1-1. Ooh, about 1.5 feet above the head of Mitch Voigt. Had the duck out of the way. 2 balls and a strike. Tito Flores is responsible for the lone Michigan RBI today. It's a 1-1 ball game here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Mitch Voigt takes another fastball high. So I think your announcer jinx that you talked about an inning ago has kind of worked both ways.
Yeah. Hey.
But as soon as you talk about it, here's a 3-1.
Oh.
It was close. A fastball about a ball's width above the zone. And Mitch Voigt continues to have a patient day at the plate. Now 2 walks to his name.
Yeah. It's not every day that you get to see 9 pitches and have 2 walks.
Reach first base twice.
Yeah. But Mitch Voigt's certainly not complaining. Getting on base is the crux of baseball right there.
First pitch coming to Tito Flores. First base runner allowed today for Crandall. Popped up behind home plate. Long run for Campos. Settles under it and cannot make a catch. I think that maybe the lights or the overcast clouds that we have in the sky over Ray Fisher Stadium maybe playing some tricks on all these fielders. We've seen Michigan have not as difficult of a time as Western Michigan has had.
Yeah,
but the Broncos outfielders especially have had some trouble locating the baseball today.
Yeah, and with the lights on so early, even though it is an overcast day, might be playing into that.
The 0-1 is a little cue shot pop-up to the right side that lands on the top of the Western Michigan dugout. Quick 0-2 hole for Tito Flores, as we mentioned briefly a second ago, has the lone RBI today on an absolute laser to right center field. He has been hitting the ball really hard as of late, but just has not been able to find grass. He had 4 hits over the weekend against Illinois. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Line drive deep and high into the air, left center field. That's got some carry to it. That ball's got a chance, and it's gone. Tito Flores deposits one across the wall in left center field. That ball was on a laser and just kept carrying and carrying for his 3rd bomb of the year.
Yeah, I think that one got onto the softball field because Tito hit that one a mile. Really nice swing. As you were saying, his sacrifice fly in that first inning, he hit it to the deepest part of the park, and it was a really good jump from center fielder Will Morrison that was able to retire him. But that one, well, nobody's catching that one.
So Michigan leads for the first time here today on a Tito Flores 2-run shot. Now Nate Voss steps into the box and takes fastball low. So we talked about it early in this inning is Dylan Stanton really had the first good rip off this young pitcher, Nick Crandall. Voss fouls one just north of the Western Michigan dugout. The hard contact against him. An inning ago, it was not there. They had none. The 1-1 pitch rolled right up at the eyes, and Nate Voss took a hack at it, 1-2.
Yeah, I mean, once you get that hard contact out of the infield, because, I mean, the first 2 batters, well, they pieced it up. It was on the infield. Good things happen.
1-2 pitch. There's a cue shot off the end of the bat. Ricochet is off the front of the Western Michigan dugout on the right side of this ball field down the first base line. Michigan obviously down the third base line. 3 runs on 3 hits for Michigan. 1 run on 2 hits for Western. Pop up just behind home plate. Let's see if Campos can take care of this one. Right in front of the Michigan dugout. He can't make the catch on this one either.
Yeah, Campos has definitely done a nice job behind the plate, but on these pop-ups has had an adventure, to say the least.
So more life again for Nate Voss. The last time that Michigan had more life on Campos not being able to make a grab, well, it turned out pretty well for him. Here's the 1-2. Into the dirt, 2 balls, 2 strikes. He really has been reluctant to go to his breaking ball in this inning.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hardest one that he's thrown here in this frame, though. He reached 82 on a fastball bottom of the 3rd, but that one reads 81.2. Fastball low and in, bounces into the catcher Campos. Count is now full with Nate Voss. In his first at-bat, he singled. Punched the gap through the second baseman and first baseman for his first hit of the season. 3-2 pitch, taken low and away, ball 4. And Nate Voss has reached base in 2 consecutive at-bats.
Yeah, and I think these Wolverine hitters are kind of becoming wise to that point, Zach, that Crandell is really avoiding his breaking stuff, and since he's not really varying anything, these Michigan hitters have been able to time him up and really get after some of these pitches that have been finding the plate.
Jonathan Kim steps into the left-handed batter's box. 2 outs, runner on first base. Takes a fastball, maybe a little outside, but called for a strike by Sal Giacomo-Antonio. Count reads no balls and a strike to Jonathan Kim. Line drive, right side, that's going to get down and head to the wall. Around second, coming to third is Nate Voss. Jonathan Kim heads into second base. That throw is to the cutoff man, throw to the plate is way in time, and Nate Voss is cut down all the way from first base. Well, he took a glove right to his face, and he is thrown out on a not very good read by Tracy Smith over at third.
Yeah, that one wasn't particularly close. It wasn't even a particularly great relay. That throw in from the outfield bounced a few, in from the second baseman bounced a few times on his way to home, and he was still in plenty of time. Got him by about 4 or 5 steps, it seemed.
Michigan grabs the lead for the first time in this ball game. John Torella back out to work for the Wolverines when we come back here on WCBN. We've played 4 here in Ann Arbor on an overcast day at Ray Fisher Stadium. Michigan holding on to a 3-1 lead thanks to the 3rd home run of the season hit by Tito Flores. 2-run blast in the bottom of the 4th inning off reliever Nick Crandell puts Michigan in front for the first time this afternoon. 6, 7, and 8 for Western Michigan against John Torella, Michigan's first reliever of the day. Jimmy Allen leads off. He struck out in his first at-bat against starting pitcher Jacob Denner, and he takes an 89.5-mile-an-hour fastball for a ball above the zone over the middle of the plate. 1-0 offering from Torella. Another fastball. This one bounces in the turf in front of Nate Voss. Jimmy Allen is 3 for his last 11, including the 3-game series against Miami of Ohio over the weekend, and now his one at-bat here in Ann Arbor as he shoots a foul ball over the overhang on the right side of the bleacher seats here from Ray Fisher. Two balls and a strike. John Torella, straight left leg, right-handed pitcher, holds a glove just below the belt loop. Delivers home a soft line drive into right field for a foul ball. Jack Vandermortel gave it a quick chase and decided to turn back.
Yeah, that's one of those ones that got in on the hands, kind of one of those bloop liners, but just a little out of reach for Vandermortel.
The 6, 7, and 8 spot today is a pretty vulnerable 3-man order for Western Michigan, especially as of late. Here's a 2-2 pitch that's fouled off in a similar spot into the parking lot. Youngster almost makes a catch on it right before it hits one of those cars sitting out there.
Looks like those cars have a guardian angel today, but unable to make the play on that one.
We mentioned Jimmy Allen is 3 for his last 11 as he waits on the 2-2. Pops it up, back into the parking lot again.
Yeah, and Terrell's just been pounding that fastball in against Allen. Allen hasn't been able to catch up to it, but credit to Allen. He's not been going down easy. No swing and miss so far.
The only reason I say vulnerable in the lineup is because of that 3 for 11 stance for Allen. Bobby Deering due up next is hitless in his last 8 at-bats now. Ben Campbell struck out in the second inning as Allen strikes out here on a fastball inside. There's the first strikeout of the day for John Torella.
And that's a good example of just being persistent right there. Was pounding those fastballs up in the zone, was just daring Allen to catch up to one and really piece one up. Allen was unable to do so, and eventually he got the swing and the miss.
And to quickly finish that thought, Ben Campos, his last game played was on the 25th of March, so nearly 2 weeks ago against Iowa. First pitch to Bobby Deering is a bit high, but called for a strike, just in on the plate. Only a 174 average for Bobby Deering. Now hitless in his last 8 at-bats, as mentioned just a moment ago. Only 1 RBI on the season, doesn't hit for much power. The 0-1 is a curveball. Haven't seen many of those so far from either reliever, Nick Crandell for Western Michigan or John Torella here for the Maize and Blue.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fastballs, a lot of putting stuff over the plate that to let the hitters beat you if they can connect well.
The 1-1. Fastball taken low and away, 2-1 now. As you mentioned, it was a strong at-bat from Jimmy Allen. He took 2 consecutive balls to lead off that at-bat, but then he fouled away 4 consecutive before finally going down on strikes. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Popped up this time on the left side of Ray Fisher Stadium and out of play. Count is leveled at 2-2. Left-handed batter Bobby Deering is the DH today for Western Michigan. Torella loads up. From the stretch, comes home. Line drive right side. That's going to be a blooper just past Ted Burton in between the second baseman and first baseman for Michigan. First base runner for Western Michigan since the first inning, as Josh Swinehart hit the home run back in the second, but Jacob Denner did not allow a runner after the first, and now there's the first one against John Torella, a 1-out single for Bobby Deering.
Yeah, and for these Michigan pitchers, it's been a lot of just going right at these hitters, making them beat you, not giving anything for free. And that's been very effective so far against this Bronco lineup.
Right-handed batter Ben Campos steps into the box. Bats very close to the home plate. Torella delivers. A breaking ball's bounced towards third base. Mitch Voigt, a strong throw to first. The retire Campos. But that'll put a runner in scoring position. Bobby Deering advances 90 feet. It's like you can almost tell that the Michigan third baseman can also pitch.
He's got a cannon for an arm back there.
He was playing deep at third base, too. I don't think he really expected either a bunt from the catcher, Ben Campos, or a short chopper. Now Voigt comes into play on the grass, which technically is still the turf here at Ray Fisher Stadium, as a curveball bounces into the catcher, Nate Voss. First inning, Michigan has seen more than 3 batters since the second inning, as Grady Mee is ahead 1-0. Torella throws a hard fastball way too high. That was pretty much at the brim of the helmet for the second baseman, Mee.
Yeah, and if you're Torella, you want to go right at Mee. Don't let it get over the top of the lineup and give Kitchen a chance to hit.
2-0 pitch. Low and inside. It's now 3-0, and John Torella will now have to come with it on 3-0.
Yeah, none of these pitches have been particularly close. A couple fastballs nowhere near the zone and a curveball in the dirt.
Here's the 3-0 pitch. That's way inside. It backs me out of the way, and here comes the top of the Western Michigan lineup with runners on first and second in a 3-1 ball game.
Yeah, and Torella had struggled with walks up until this outing, but so far this outing, until the at bat against me, he was doing a real good job of controlling the zone, but just kind of lost it on that one.
So the go-ahead run presents itself at the plate for Western, with Deering on second and me on first. Brings up Jackson Kitchen, the leadoff man, as he takes a ball up and away.
Yeah, if I'm Voss, I might go out, have a little conversation with Torella here, just kind of settle him down.
Michigan has some slow action in the bullpen. It's Kurt Barr. Fastball way too high, and there you go. There's your mound visit from Nate Voss. Ted Burton sprints in to have a conversation with Torella. It's just some light throwing from Barr down the left field line in the bullpen for the Wolverines.
Yeah, and the thing is, obviously if you're Torella, you never want to just throw something right over the middle of the plate. As now I think we're going to need a full mound visit from the pitching coach after that abbreviated one with just the catcher, with just Nate Voss.
Yeah, Brock Hunsinger is out there to have a conversation with Torella, and he will gather the rest of the Michigan infielders to give Kurt Barr some more time to get loose down the bullpen.
Yeah, and if I'm Torella, these Western Michigan hitters haven't really been able to catch up to that fastball so far, that fastball that's gotten up to 91 on the gun. I think that you got to just be living over the plate here. Obviously, 2-0 count, Kitchen's going to be looking for it, but until they prove that they can hit it and hit it well, I think you gotta just go right at them.
Runners on first and second for Western Michigan, top of the fifth inning. Michigan has a 3-1 lead. He delivers a fastball for a strike to get one back. Counts now 2-1 with the leadoff man, Jackson Kitchen.
And Kitchen there after 6 straight balls, just taken all the way.
Here's the 2-1. That's not particularly close, low and away.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see here as the heart of the Broncos lineup would get up if Kitchen can get on, if he's going to be taking his bat off his shoulder on this 3-1.
3-1, way too high. And the bases are now juiced full of Broncos getting ready to run. Tracy Smith has made his way to the top step, but I think he's going to stay there. They might let him face off here against Will Morrison, and now here he comes.
Yeah, and it was a good outing for Torella until
the single.
Yeah, until the single, and then it kind of came undone a little bit.
And to think Ted Burton was maybe one more stride away from just finishing the inning, or at least gathering that second out. That would have been the second out, because then Campos bounced out to third. So the day is done for John Torella. Enter Kurt Barr. Michigan still holding on to a 3-1 lead, but Western Michigan threatening here in the top of the fifth inning on WCBN Sports. In the middle of a Western Michigan threat, Tracy Smith opts to go to the bullpen for the second time today. Enter freshman Kurt Barr from University Liggett School in Grosse Pointe, calls hometown St. Joachim, Ontario. Has had some trouble finding the strike zone as of late. In his last 2 appearances, he's walked 6 combined in each of the last 2 midweek games, once against Akron back on the 21st of March and then 1 week later against Central Michigan.
Yeah, and with the heart of the order coming up, this is a danger time for the Wolverines, as obviously you got nowhere to put the Broncos' best hitter, Morrison.
Their center fielder climbs into the right-handed batter's box. Kurt Barr delivers a curveball that is checked on and called a strike by the home plate umpire, Sal Giacomo-Antonio.
Yeah, and Morrison just a little overzealous there, batting with the bases loaded against a freshman pitcher that's struggled a little bit.
Got a pretty juiced-up average at .354. 1 home run on the season, 18 RBIs. Looking for more. Barr goes back to the curveball, but it's way too high. A ball and a strike. Morrison 0 for 2 today. A fly out in the first and the final of Jacob Denner's 3 strikeouts in the 3rd inning, the 1-1. Fastball hit hard towards the right side, played nicely on a backhand by Jack Vanner Mortal, and that'll end the frame. A backpedaling high five from Kurt Barr to Vanner Mortal, who makes a good stop on a hard-hit ball off the bat of Morrison, leaves them loaded, and Michigan holds on to that 3-1 edge thanks to a Tito Flores 2-run bomb in the 4th. Wolverines back to the plate when we come back on Michigan Baseball. A new pitcher is on for Western Michigan, Ethan Houtaling, sophomore right-hander from Zeeland, Michigan, Zeeland East High School. It's the 3rd arm of the day for the Broncos, visiting from Kalamazoo. You know, it's always fun going to high school, especially from Michigan. Both you and I, you're from South Lyon, myself from Heartland, so pretty local areas, to see family, sibling rivalries that come about with these in-state opponents, as Cody Jeffers shoots one high into the air left center. Ranging over to his left is Kitchen, a 1-pitch out. So Cody Jeffers has only seen 5 pitches today in 3 at-bats. And there's 1 away, bottom 5th, Michigan leading 3-1. The second baseman, number 3, Ted Burton. I'm sure you also know someone that goes to Western, some kind of friends. A curveball low outside to Ted Burton with 1 away.
Yeah, and especially with these rosters being littered with players from all over the state.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. Another curveball. Beautiful pitch and location. Ted Burton swings straight through it. But I know it's a little funny, the timing of this. My parents, who I know are listening and are Michigan fans, are driving out to Kalamazoo now to visit my sister for her birthday, which is today, and she's at Western Michigan. 2 balls and a strike, way outside from Houtaling. Here's a 2-1 pitch. That's a fastball that misses low and away. Now 3-1, Ted Burton finally has a favorable count. He hit a ball really hard in the first inning, but it was a fly out to right. Here's a 3-1 pitch. Fastball below the zone for ball 4. Ted Burton's on for the first time today with 1 out in the 5th.
Yeah, and Hodling has struggled with the walks so far this year. He's pitched 12 innings, 15 walks, and that has led him to that ugly ERA of 18.75 through those 12 innings of work.
3-hole hitter Joe Longo steps into the box. First pitch he sees is a breaking ball that just is planted perfectly into the low outside corner to the big right-hander.
And I'm just
they employ that shift again. This time it's against Longo. The 0-1.
Yeah, not something you often see against right-handed hitters, because it does, and especially with a man on, it kind of eliminates the double play ball unless it's pulled to the shortstop or third baseman.
That's a long throw for a shortstop to make. Of course, third baseman's long too. Bouncing ball towards short. Here it is. The runner is going to be safe at second base. Longo sprinting to first is called out because Ted Burton had an early start. He was trying to steal a bag there. A hit and run for Joe Longo results in a runner being pushed over to second and an RBI opportunity for Dylan Stanton.
Yeah. We've seen the hit and run be employed by both teams so far today, and both times it's maybe saved them from a double play ball.
But it was a smart play, though, by Jimmy Allen, the shortstop for Western Michigan. Pretty generous lead for Burton at second base as Dylan Stanton takes curveball just inside, maybe half a ball's width in on the plate.
Yeah, and to your point, Zach, that ball was hit hard enough where the shortstop definitely could have been thinking two right away.
1-0 is on the ground towards Allen again. On a backhand, a couple skips towards first, and he eliminates Stanton. So Michigan gets a runner to second base, Ted Burton off of his walk, but back-to-back ground balls to Jimmy Allen and strong throws to first. Well, that takes the Wolverines off the board here in the bottom of the 5th. 4 frames to play here in Ann Arbor. The score is 3-1, Michigan, with Kurt Barr coming back to the mound here on WCBN Sports. Michigan leads 3-1, top of the 6th inning from Ray Fisher Stadium here in Ann Arbor. Michigan a substitution behind the plate. Casey Buckley will take over for Nate Voss. And remember, Voss was thrown out at home and took a glove to the face from the catcher, Campos, when he was thrown out. Cade Sullivan leads off for Western Michigan against Kurt Barr. He swings a sword at strike 1, a fastball right over the middle of the plate.
Yeah, that was an ugly swing there from Sullivan, and as he was looking to check his swing, I think it would have been a strike anyways, but Barr will take it nonetheless.
Out of the windup, a high leg kick and delivery home. Short foul ball back to the screen. It's 0-2. That's the start that Kurt Barr needs. As I mentioned, over his last 2 appearances, he's walked it combined to 6 in a game that you called against Akron 2 weeks ago, and then 3 more in the win against Central Michigan last week. He's ahead here against Sullivan 0-2. His windup and delivery is a breaking ball low and away, blocked up by Casey Buckley, the new Wolverine catcher.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where you gotta. This is a good job from Barr, going right at the hitters, getting ahead in the count, and using some of that off-speed stuff.
1-2 pitch, bounced short to third base on a bare hand. Mitch Voigt throws sidearm to first just in time. That's a second really nice play from Mitch Voigt today over at the hot corner with a strong throw to first.
And that time Voigt was playing well back because of the power threat that Sullivan provides. So he had to come in charging hard on that ball and make another really nice throw over to first.
So Kurt Barr has now induced 2 ground balls from Bronco hitters, one to leave the bases loaded in the top of the 5th inning as Dylan Nevar steps in, takes a fastball in the up and out corner. 0-1 Kurt Barr in front, so he's seen 2 batters, induced 2 ground balls, and gotten the defense 2 outs. Here's a 3rd ground ball on a backhand. Jack Vander Mortel at first scurries over to the bag, stomps on it with his right foot, and there's 2 away on 3 ground balls now from Kurt Barr in this appearance.
And Barr doing a good job of keeping the ball in the strike zone, but not hitting too much of the plate to really give these Western hitters a chance to tee off on him.
He came in to relieve John Torella in the 5th inning after he left him loaded. First pitch to Josh Swinehart, who's responsible for the lone Western Michigan run on a homer back in the 2nd, is a curveball that misses up and outside. So 1-0 pitch here coming from Barr. Fastball bounced on a high chop to Mitch Voigt. This one a bit of an easier play, but a low throw this time is scooped up by Jack Vander Mortel over at first base. It's a 1-2-3 frame, and Kurt Barr continues to put balls on the ground off Bronco bats. 3-1, Michigan lead here from Ann Arbor at Ray Fisher Stadium. Bottom of the 6th inning here in Ann Arbor at Ray Fisher Stadium. Inside the Wilpon Baseball Complex, Jack Vander Mortel will lead off for the Wolverines. 5, 6, and 7. Vander Mortel, Voigt, and Flores, a trio that has had some pretty good plate appearances here today. Vander Mortel a triple and a sharp line out as he takes ball 1 low from Ethan Hodeling. Mitch Voigt 2 walks. He's only seen 9 pitches. Tito Flores 2 really good swings. A sacrificed fly to center field in the 2nd inning, and then the 2-run shot to left. 2-0 now to Vander Mortel. Fastball skipped about, what would you think, Stevie, about 5 feet in front of the catcher?
Yeah, I feel like I'm in Major League with a ball placement like that. But, yeah, to your point, this part of the lineup's been producing some loud contact so far.
The 2-0 taken. It's a curveball that's low to Jack Vander Mortel, and it's a 3-0 count. Michigan first baseman's also provided some pretty good defense here today. The 3-0 pitch, another fastball from Hodeling that's very low. It skips into the catcher, Campos, and Michigan has their leadoff man on to begin the bottom of the 6th inning.
Yeah, and just a fun little stat for you America lovers out there. Currently, Hodeling's ERA on the season sitting at 17.76.
You know, I lived with you for a year, and that's fully something that I would expect you to say.
Hey,
Mitch Voigt takes strike one on a fastball low.
Something the viewers got to know. And the way Hodeling's pitching so far may not stay that way for very long.
He's working quickly out of the stretch, peers over at Vander Mortal as Voigt shoots a fly ball into left field. Charging strong is Kitchen, and the left-handed glove makes the catch.
See, Zach, just like that, ERA's not at 17.76 anymore. So would have missed my shot.
Number 22, Tito Flores.
That's why you're paid the big bucks and I'm not. I guess maybe I didn't pay attention in history class. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I think so.
Tito Flores into the box. Arm sleeve on his right arm with the Jordan logo on it. Breaking ball low and outside from Hodeling with the runner on first base. Jack Vander Mortal, Michigan leading it 3-1 over Western Michigan.
Yeah, and I like what Tito's done so far. He's been aggressive early in the count, and that's allowed him to barrel up some balls.
1-0, same location. Definitely would have gotten a piece of a left-handed batter.
Yeah. Another favorable count with sitting at 2-0. I'd be looking for Tito to find something over the heart of the plate to drive.
2-0 pitch. That one's low. So much like Jack Vander Mortal, the Michigan leadoff man here in the frame, a 3-0 count. He had red light all the way on 3-0, I would expect. The same to be true here for Tito, although he is barreling up the ball and takes a fastball inside. May have gotten a piece of the jersey, but I think he backed out of the way. Nonetheless, down to first base goes Flores. Michigan threatening with runners on first and second here. Western Michigan does have action down in their bullpen.
Yeah, and this has kind of been the story of the season for Hodeling, as 3 walks already today. Brings his total up to 17 on the season. And, I mean, for somebody who's only thrown 22 pitches today, to have walked 3 batters is impressive, but not in a good way.
So that will induce a mound visit here for Western Michigan.
It looks like we're going to get a pitching change.
I think so. They are going to bring a new arm into the game, and the day will be done for Ethan Hodeling.
Or maybe not.
He opened the door, and then he closed it.
Yeah, this is really keeping us on the edge of our seat here.
Literally, because we can't see the Western Michigan bullpen very well from where we're at. It's interesting because we can see clearly the Michigan bullpen because there's no big sign in the way. However, there is a sign in the way that I think they are going to go to the pen here. Well, he opened it for a second time, and this time he's on the field, and now he'll run in. But that sign on the right field concourse that reads "Onward to Omaha" that allows Western Michigan to warm up in the bullpen kind of blocks our view, and it also doesn't help that their numbers are kind of camouflaged in there with their gray uniforms.
Yes, that is very true.
But Western Michigan will be going to the bullpen. We'll get you that new arm right when we come back. You're listening to Michigan Baseball. Michigan threatening to add on to their 2-run lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning, with runners on first and second base against a new pitcher for Western Michigan. It's DJ Thompson, the 5'11" right-handed freshman from Alma, Michigan. Be facing off against a pinch hitter who was a defensive substitution a half inning ago with Casey Buckley, a tall left-handed bat stepping in to the batter's box. So 1 out in the frame was earned by Hodling on a fly out from Mitch Voigt. The right-hander comes set and delivers home to Buckley for a strike. Changeup that read 76 miles an hour on the gun.
Yeah, that's a good first pitch against Buckley. Nothing he could really do on that one.
Only an average of 133 on the season for Buckley. Vanner Mortal a short lead off second. Buckley a strong swing and a foul right back to the padding behind home plate along that brick wall. Quickly behind 0-2, the Michigan catcher. The hot swinging Jonathan Kim on deck for the Wolverines. Buckley lines one right side that gets past the diving glove of Me to his left side. Rounding third, coming to the plate is Vanner Mortal. He will get in there without a throw. The cutoff man, Swinehart, knocks it down, but the Wolverines have taken a 4-1 lead on an RBI single from Casey Buckley.
It's just good approach there. Not really trying to do too much, and I think that changeup just got a little too much to the plate. It looks like Vanner Mortal was a little bit shaken up as he kind of awkwardly slid headfirst into home. Kind of took a little, kind of looked like a seal there, bobbing up and down.
And that's not the first time he's had trouble sliding today. Remember, Vanner Mortal hit a triple back in the second inning, and he did a full somersault over the bag at third base. So here's Jonathan Kim.
I will say it is a bit of an adjustment sliding on turf versus on dirt, but
especially head first.
yes.
Kim takes a fastball low and away. Gloved nicely by Campos, the catcher. So now runners on the corners. Tito Flores is on third, and Casey Buckley, who just cashed in on an RBI at first with a big leadoff. The 1-0 pitch. Kim rides this one deep into center field. Going back is Morrison, and he will make the catch right up against the wall. Tagging and scoring from third base is Flores, and back to first just in the nick of time is Casey Buckley. RBI number 16 for Jonathan Kim gives Michigan a 5-1 edge over Western.
Yeah, and despite Kim's slight frame, he pieced up that ball. He hit it to the deepest part of the park out here in Ray Fisher, about out into that right center field corner, and that was.
Billy Gernon has just made his way out to the field to have a conversation with second base umpire Stuart Hall. I think to see if maybe Casey Buckley.
I think Casey Buckley rounded second, and I think
maybe didn't tag on the way back, but
maybe
they did throw the ball to second base. The first baseman Swinehart threw it to the second baseman Me. And Stuart Hall motioned safe, indicating that he did have his eyes on Casey Buckley tagging second base on the way back. That's got to be what the conversation's about.
Yeah, and from my vantage point, it looked like Buckley got to the base and then just kind of did a 180 on the base, so I'm not really sure what the argument was there, but the Wolverines get the run regardless.
So here's Cody Jeffress taking strike one on a 75-mile-an-hour changeup there from DJ Thompson. Thompson has the ability to go relatively deep in games as a reliever, a season-high 3 innings on the ground right side. The whole way, just kind of skid along the turf right between the legs of Me, who makes a slow toss over to first to Swinehart, and that ends the bottom of the 6th inning. Michigan, though, they put 2 runs across. It's now 5-1 with 3 innings to play here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. This is your home for Michigan baseball on WCBN Sports. Top of the 7th inning on deck here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor, and Kurt Barr is back out to throw for Michigan. He's looked pretty good so far in this relief appearance for Michigan.
Yeah, he's been pitching to contact, and the Michigan defense has been playing well behind him, especially Van Remortel doing a real nice job down at first base, spearing a few balls that have been sharply hit towards him, and then, of course, Voigt with a nice play of his own.
He will face off against 6, 7, and 8 in the Western Michigan order. First up, right-hander and shortstop Jimmy Allen. First pitch from Barr is a fastball that misses in on the knees. Remember, new catcher is Casey Buckley, who took over for Nate Voss after he left the game when he tried to score all the way from first, and he took a glove right to the face from the Western Michigan catcher Campos. Second consecutive fastball. This time it's up and away. Against Jimmy Allen, a senior that stands at 6 foot from Westmont, Illinois, Timothy Christian High School. Big swing and a miss. Kurt Barr gets one back. It's 2-1 on a fastball right over the middle of the plate.
Yeah, Allen's eyes lit up on that one. He was swinging to put that one over that left field wall.
He struck out twice today. Another fastball. This one rides right over the middle of Broadway. Count is now leveled at 2-2. Allen marks the first strikeout for both Jacob Denner and the only strikeout for John Torella, who only lasted an inning in relief. The 2-2 pitch will into the corner. Kurt Barr thought he had him for strike 3 nonetheless. That'll load up the count with the Western Michigan shortstop, who's been very good on the defensive side today, but has been a little reluctant to swing early in counts at the plate. Here's a 3-2. Fastball high. Hardest thrown pitch from Kurt Barr at 88.5. Yeah. But it's a walk, and Jimmy Allen has led off the inning with a walk for Western Michigan.
Yeah, that patient approach finally paid off for him, as Barr unable to put him away with that fastball.
Prior to the last at-bat for the DH Bobby Deering, he was hitless in his last 9. Curveball from Barr is about a ball's width above the zone, a little inside.
Yeah, there was a slow bender in there. That one took a little while getting to the plate.
That was a 16-mile-an-hour dip-off from the last fastball that Barr threw. Line drive towards the right side of the infield. Diving play by Ted Burton. It just kind of stood in the air for a moment. Ted had to figure out when to dive at it, and he just snatched that one right out of the air for out number 1.
Yeah, it looked like Burton was a little unsure of that one coming off the bat, but he was able to kind of stay his ground and dive and make a really, really nice play, because that one was headed towards the gap. Probably would have been extra bases.
Haven't these Michigan infielders been just superb defensively today? Ben Campos now in to the box for Western. That skids in between the legs of the catcher Buckley. And right on cue, we were just talking last inning about how good the catchers have been defensively, stopping balls in front of them. Maybe the substitute catcher allows one to go right through.
Maybe not at catching pop-ups, but stopping the balls, being a backstop until right now, they were doing very well.
A runner on second with one away. A fastball rides high. That one at 87 miles an hour. Kurt Barr reaching back for it. But now the count's at 2-0 with Campos, who is 0 for 2. A strikeout and a ground out to Mitch Voigt. Line drive right side. That's over the head of Jack Van Mortel. This should score one. From second coming home is Jimmy Allen. He will score with no throw. The score is now 5-2. And Campos has just his second run driven in of this 2023 campaign.
Yeah, and that was a little inside-out swing. He kind of looked like he got jammed on that fastball, but was able to just kind of poke it out right over Van Remortel at first base into right field.
And prior to that swing of the bat from Ben Campos, the only run scored today was a home run just over the angled wall in left center field from Josh Swinehart back in the second. Breaking ball is way high to Grady Mee, who rounds out the Western Michigan order this afternoon.
We'll say, when Barr's throwing that curveball, it's looking like he's trying to take a little bit off to kind of accentuate that difference in velocity.
There's a fastball for a called strike on the inner half of the plate.
I'd like to see him snap down, and while it may not be the big 17-mile-an-hour difference you were alluding to, Zach, it might help him to control it a little bit better.
1-1 pitch from Barr. Popped up left side. That's going to fly over the overhang down the third base line. Out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes back towards Yost Ice Arena. And Stevie, is there a big game this weekend or something like that?
May not be in Yost Ice Arena, but yes, I think there may be a big game down in Tampa as the Wolverines take on Quinnipiac for a chance to go to the national title game.
Small school in Connecticut took down Ohio State. Short bouncing ball right side, Ted Burton charging. Flips to first, Jack Vander Mortel goes down to his shoelaces to grab it, and tumbling over the bag at first is me. That's good for the second out of the inning. Ted Burton was playing deep at that second base position. Had the charge strong and just got it over to Jack Vander Mortel in time for the second out. In the meantime, Ben Campos has made his way to second, but there's 2 outs for Kurt Barr, 1 to get against the top of the order, and Jackson Kitchen, the left-handed bat for Western, at the plate.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with baseball, that might look like a kind of routine, easy play, but trust me, that is not an easy one to pull off.
Ugly swing for strike 1. Kitchen, he went fishing for that one, low and outside, a breaking ball from Kurt Barr.
Yeah, that might be the first time we've seen that changeup, and it looked pretty good. It induced a really kind of ugly swing from Kitchen there.
Here's the 0-1. A slide step delivers home. And the home plate umpire, Sal Giacomo-Antonio, says yes, he did. A quick 0-2 count to the leadoff man, Jackson Kitchen, who is 0 for 2 with a walk in his last AB back in the 5th. Had 2 hits Sunday, as Western was able to take 2 of 3 from the Red Hawks of Miami, Ohio. No balls, 2 strikes. Generous leadoff of second base for Campos. Ball in the dirt, blocked nicely by Casey Buckley. Count is now 1-2. The schedule by no means had an easy start for Western Michigan. They had to go down to Baton Rouge and play against the number 1 ranked team in the country at the time, LSU. As you mentioned pregame, they kept it close with the Tigers for one of the games. Final score 5-3. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Fastball up and in, say about a full ball's width above the zone. But they lost 7 in a row to begin the season. They're 7-11 since, a total record of 7-18. 0-5 against Big Ten opponents.
Yeah.
2 against MSU. 3 in a series against Iowa in Iowa City. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball low and in, just over the shoe tops of Jackson Kitchen. Count is now full.
And to your point, Zach, according to the D1 website, the Broncos had the 18th toughest non-conference schedule so far this year. So just not been easy sledding despite that record.
3-2 is slapped foul behind home plate. This has really been a comeback performance from Kurt Barr. We've mentioned it a couple times through his appearance here today. He walked 6 combined in his previous 2 outings. 3 against Akron, in a midweek game loss here 2 weeks ago against the Zips, and then 3 more last week against the Chippewas of Central Michigan. Called strike 3 inside corner. Down goes Kitchen on Kurt Barr's first strikeout of the afternoon. He leaves a runner on base, 1 across in the inning for the Broncos. 5-2 is a lead for Michigan as we head to stretch time here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. This is your home for Michigan baseball on WCBN Sports. Western Michigan has cut into the Wolverine lead. However, still a 3-run spread. Michigan leading an in-state opponent, Western Michigan, 5-2 as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. 2-hole hitter Ted Burton leads off against DJ Thompson. Fastball is low below the knees, right across the middle of the plate to Ted Burton, who steps into the box, wears white cleats, waves the bat out towards him once. Slightly offset stance with the left foot behind the right, takes a strike. It's 1-1. Thompson working quickly out of the windup from the far right side of the rubber, slings home a fastball outside.
And Thompson been one of the more effective Bronco pitchers so far this season. As he
line drive into left field, that splits the gap. Ranging over to his right is Kitchen, who struck out looking to end the Western Michigan threat in the top of the 7th. And Ted Burton has his first base knock of this afternoon.
And there we go. The announcer jinx working positively for the Wolverines there. So I was going to say, DJ Thompson, well, it may not sound super impressive given all things considered, though. It is one of the better pitchers so far for the Broncos. He's a 9.19 ERA through 15 2/3. And with the team ERA being at 9, not the worst option for the Broncos.
Here's Joe Longo for Michigan. Squibs one right back towards Thompson. A nice throw to second. Connects with me over to first. That is a 1-4-3 double play that knocks Ted Burton off the base pads. A lot of the time you'll see pitchers get a little anxious when the ball comes right back to him, especially for a double play. But Thompson handled that nicely, took his time, delivered a strong throw to second base, and all of a sudden, base pads are empty.
Yeah, and fielding it right off the mound can be tricky as the throw changes with like the slight dip in elevation as you're stepping off the mound. And it's kind of a little awkward going to second base, but Thompson did a nice job there and retired too for the Broncos.
Michigan will put a pinch hitter to the plate. Cody Holtink takes over for Dylan Stanton, who struck out in the 2nd, then ground outs in both the 4th and 5th innings. First pitch was a ball inside. Second pitch comes home with a curveball that's placed just beautifully over the plate. And the count is evened up at 1 apiece. Holtink, a similar stance to Ted Burton with the left foot behind the right. Kind of splits the heels a bit, now 2-1. 167 average on the season. Just 1 RBI. He struck out twice, no walks. Ahead in the count here, 2-1 with Thompson. And Thompson misses low. Be a good time to pull that first walk with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Michigan leading it 5-2.
And Holtink with only 6 at-bats on the season, all in pitch hitting roles.
3-1, taken for a strike fastball that's zipped right into that low and outside corner that Western has been trying to hit all day. They've been really exploring the outer part of the plate. Here's a 3-2. Holtink swings and misses on a slider low and away, and wasted away he is. First strikeout for DJ Thompson ends the Michigan 7th. 2 frames to play here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. The score, Michigan 5, Western Michigan 2. On your home for Michigan baseball, WCBN Sports. A couple of changes to begin the 8th inning here from Ann Arbor. Michigan leading it 5-2 over Western Michigan. From the bench to third base, Brandon Lawrence. Third baseman Mitch Voigt, we've talked about his arm multiple times today. He's now on the mound to pitch for Michigan. And substituting in right field, Joe Longo out, Greg Pace Jr. in. And that is how the Wolverines line up for the top of the 8th inning against 2, 3, and 4 for Western Michigan in what is still a close game, 5-2.
Yeah.
But Mitch Voigt has been consistent, to say the least, for the Wolverines in his freshman season. 15 and a third innings pitched, 2.35 ERA. Does not allow much power. 2 home runs on the season, just 2 doubles. Struck out 13, walked 6.
Yeah. He's been one of Michigan's most effective pitchers so far, and going up against this meat of the Broncos order.
Will Morrison squares to bunt but takes a strike in the outside corner. We almost had ourselves a Kurt Barr, Will Morrison round 2. 2 graduates of University Liggett School. 0-1, Voigt comes home and delivers a fastball right over the heart of the plate for strike 2.
And Voigt going right after Morrison, who has not done much at the plate today, but has been impressive out in the field, out in center field.
He lifts one high into the air left field. It's got some carry to it. Flores, ranging to his right, will make the catch about 3 strides in front of the warning track in left field, right down the line. One away here in the top of the 8th inning. And the freshman from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, Mitch Voigt, has 1 out in his back pocket. Tito Flores has pretty much been able to just fall asleep in left field today. Outside of the home run, almost nothing has gone in his direction. Here's Cade Sullivan. Fastball bounces into Casey Buckley.
Yeah, aside from that little courtesy jog for the home run, that was the first time he's been called into action.
I mean, throwing it back to the 2nd inning with that Josh Schweinhart homer, that ball just continued to carry and carry and carry. This one will carry in the deep right center field off the bat of Sullivan, and that's going to get over the wall for a home run. I mean, that was a line drive that looked like it was heading to put a dent in the wall in right center field. Kim and Pace Jr. could have just reached up and snagged it, but that ball was out in a hurry, and it's now a 5-3 Michigan lead here in the top of the 8th inning.
Yeah, that's some impressive power from Sullivan there. That's, like we've said, driving the ball out towards right center has kind of been a stroke of death for a lot of these hitters, as Morrison and Kim have run down some balls out there, but that one just kept on going.
Dylan Nevar fouls a pop-up behind home plate. That'll land in the top row of Ray Fisher Stadium and roll back down to what has been a pretty strong crowd for a Tuesday afternoon. Michigan now offering free attendance for these midweek games, still charging for the weekends, other than students. Fastball misses low and away to left-handed batter Nevar.
Yeah, I will say it would be nice to see the stands a little bit more filled, but for Tuesday afternoon, can't really complain with the turnout.
Here's the 1-1. Fastball in on the hands. 2 balls and a strike. And now this is a bit of the slower part of the athletic season on campus. Michigan baseball's in full swing. Hockey still competing, obviously. Men's basketball ended a couple weeks ago. National championship game last night. Fastball swung straight through by Nevar. How about UConn's run?
Man, just really impressive.
Dominated SDSU last night to win their 5th championship in 15 years. High fly ball right field down the right field line. Vanner Mortal backpedaling. Better angle for Burton. He will make the catch just in front of the Western Michigan bullpen down the right field line. And there's 2 away for Mitch Voigt here in the top of the 8th inning.
Yeah, that's a really rangy play there for Burton, as that one got out pretty far, probably a good 30 to 40 feet outside the infield, but it just still stayed up there for that long. And back to your point about the dominant run for UConn, very similar to a run that strikes pain in the heart of Michigan fans in that 2018 Villanova team.
The Villanova run, too. Here's Josh Schweinhart, who homered back in the 2nd inning, takes a fastball up and away from Voigt, and Mitch is right back to work. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Back to a fastball. This one misses about a foot above the zone. Seems like he's being a little cautious here with Swinehart. Remember, Voigt put him away back in the 6th inning on a hard-hit ground ball to third. 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. A strong fastball. He tucked it right in the upper corner of the far part of the zone, and Swinehart swung straight through it. Remember, the home run that he hit over the head of Flores back in the 2nd was a slower fastball from Denner on the inside part of the plate. He shoots this one down the right field line, just foul. I mean, inches foul down the right field line. Vander Mortel watched it, and so did the first base umpire this afternoon, Aaron Woodbury. And the count is now even at 2-2.
Yeah, that was a good piece of hitting there from Swinehart, but just unable to steer it inside of that foul line.
5-3 Michigan. Mitch Voigt delivers home on the 2-2. Fouled and off the helmet of Swinehart. The white helmet falls to the ground.
Wow.
He seems to be okay. I don't think I've seen that before.
Yeah. Usually you foul it off of something. You foul it off your shin, something like that. From Swinehart's reaction, it looks like it just hit the brim. It doesn't even look like it hit him.
Now, let's ask a question here. Did that even hit the bat? I think maybe he swung and it just hit the brim of the helmet. The athletic trainer was out on the field just for a moment. She has since returned to the dugout on the first base side. We've got no replay here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Because that's a good point, Zach.
Nonetheless, it's still a foul ball. He'll have some more life, but kind of saw it flash before his eyes there for a moment with where the ball was located. Mitch Voigt does not throw the ball slow. That was 93.5. 2-2 pitch swung on and missed. And, well, if it even was a foul ball, one thing's true. Mitch Voigt showed him what he could do, and he strikes him out on a fastball 1 pitch later. Yeah. Western Michigan will have a new pitcher coming on for the bottom of the 8th inning. Michigan looking to survive a scare from the Western Michigan Broncos. 5-3 Wolverines on WCBN. Fifth arm of the day for Western Michigan, as they have gone to the bullpen to replace DJ Thompson. Avery Thielman is the new pitcher for the Broncos. 6'5", 215, a freshman from Kalamazoo, attended Kalamazoo Central High School. Started all 4 years there for a Western Michigan alum, Scott Spada, at Central. He also batted .425 his junior season of high school. Full two-way guy. He's listed as a corner infielder on their website. Jack Vander Mortel climbs in to lead off against Thielman and takes a strike at 89 miles an hour, far side of the plate.
Yeah, Vander Mortel's put together some good at-bats with a triple, a walk, and then a line-out so far today.
Second pitch to him. A long delivery from Thielman is a curveball that's nowhere close. 1-1, bounced way to the right of the catcher Campos. Numbers on the season for Thielman is nothing. His first appearance of the year. The 1-1. There's a called strike up in the zone this time to Vandermortel, right over the middle of the plate. Average now at 277. He legged out a triple in the second, lined out in the fourth inning against the shift that they employ right now against Vandermortel, the 1-2. A little bit closer this time with the curveball on the outside part of the plate, but now 2-2.
Yeah, and for Western Michigan, a team that has struggled so far pitching-wise, as we talked about that ERA close to 9 as a team, maybe Thielman can provide some spark for them.
2-2 up and in to Vandermortel. Boy, his chin hairs got grazed. Counts now full 3-2. That one was at 86 up and in. Trying to get back in the swing of things on the mound is Thielman, making his first appearance of the season. Here's the payoff pitch coming from the stretch. Line drive into right field over the head of the first baseman Swinehart. It dies in front of Nevar in right field, and Jack Vandermortel cashes in with the leadoff single. Michigan looking for some insurance prior to the top of the ninth inning, where we will likely see Mitch Voigt as he also heads into the right-handed batter's box.
Yeah, unless Michigan can tack on a few insurance runs here, you would assume that the Wolverines will just roll with Mitch Voigt to kind of see out this victory, or see out this game, rather.
So Western Michigan will have a mound visit here prior to Thielman facing off against Mitch Voigt. This is Corey Mee. Strong day at the plate for this part of the order, I'll tell you what. Vandermortel, Voigt, Flores, and the combination of Voss and Buckley.
Yeah. Talk about a tough time to make your college debut on the mound, as this part of the order has just consistently hit the ball well. And, I mean, good swing there.
Those four have been on base 10 total times today.
Yeah. Vandermortel put a good swing on the pitch, the 3-2 pitch he saw.
Mitch Voigt skies one high into the air right field. Does that have the carry to get out, and is it in the right direction? Yes, it is. It's off the foul pole in right field, and Mitch Voigt has his second home run in 3 games to extend the Michigan lead to 4 here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
That was just a really good approach there from Mitch Voigt, and showing off that power. I mean, we talked about his live arm earlier, and there's definitely some upper body strength with Mitch Voigt, as that one wasn't hit on the screws per se, as that one was kind of just got up there a little bit.
Billy
had the
Gernon.
carry.
Go ahead, Billy Gernon will make his way out to the mound, and they will take Thielman out of the game after just 2 batters faced. Well, Michigan's version of Shohei Ohtani gets it done on the bump, and then he hits a home run. The Wolverines lead at 7-3. We will meet the new Broncos pitcher when we come back on WCBN Sports, your home for Michigan baseball. A quick enter and a quick exit for Avery Thielman here in the 8th inning. His first appearance of the year. Well, doesn't go as planned, does it? A single from Jack Vandermortel and then a 2-run blast from Mitch Voigt that hits the foul pole in right field. It gives Michigan a 7-3 lead And a new pitcher is on for Western Michigan, the redshirt sophomore right-hander from South Bend, Indiana, Ryan Watt.
Yeah, and for you stat nerds out there, I'll put on another ERA. Thielman's got an infinite ERA so far this year now.
Breaking ball misses low and outside. Skips away from the catcher Campos. Tito Flores in the box. Also had a strong day with, really you could debate between a line drive or a fly out to center, a sacrifice in the second. That gave Michigan their first run. A ball rides up and in to Tito Flores, now 2-0. Then the 2-run home run in the fourth inning. Then he walked and scored in the sixth. That was on the Jonathan Kim sacrifice fly. 2-0. Breaking ball just off the plate.
Yeah, and I will say,
framed nicely, but for a ball.
Yeah, I will say an interesting decision to put Thielman in for his first college action against this part of the lineup is really just shredded.
Flores takes a called strike just inside on the knees, framed nicely there by Campos. He's doing a good job of taking balls that are maybe a bit outside the zone and bringing them right back in. Here's the 3-1. Fouled back to the padding behind home plate. Big swing from Tito. One of the finest coming out of Brother Rice. Hometown listed as Detroit for Tito Flores. Here's the 3-2 pitch from Watt. Popped up right side of the infield. Very playable for Swinehart. Backpedaling into right field. Debate between the first and second baseman, Swinehart and me. Me ends up calling him off and makes the play. So one away on the first batter faced for the new pitcher, Ryan Watt.
Yeah, and a good job from Watt battling back there. Went down let Flores, get up 3-0 in the count and battled back with some nice pitches and able to retire him.
This is the sixth pitcher of the day for Western Michigan. Casey Buckley into the left-handed batter's box. Takes strike one on the outside part of the plate. Just drifted over the far side. Sal Giacomo has been very consistent this afternoon behind the plate. The 0-1. Same exact spot. This time Buckley takes a rip and fouls it off Yost down the left field line. Watt, he redshirted a year ago due to injury. Made his first appearance this year against, guess who? LSU. Line drive foul down inside the Michigan bullpen. And what a welcome back from injury that was. And he did a good job. He pitched for an inning and 2/3 at Baton Rouge. Allowed one hit, struck out one, no earned runs. He then allowed runs in 3 consecutive appearances, in appearances 2 through 4. That's a rip from Buckley down the right field line. I'll tell you what, that would have shattered a windshield or two if there were many cars directly down the line. There's cars piled up in the back-to-back spots in the parking lot down the right field line. And I always love that this comes up in every single broadcast, but don't park your car out there. The 0-2. Yeah. Change-up misses away. Now 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Parking in Ann Arbor is hard, but a broken windshield is not a price that you should be willing to pay to get a little bit closer.
You'd rather pay the, what is it, $2 an hour rather than the broken windshield fee? The 1-2. Same exact spot outside. This time, same exact change-up. 2-2 with Casey Buckley, who knocks what is turf off of his cleats and steps back into the box on the left side. Waves the bat out once, twice, now a third time. Why not a fourth? As Ryan Watt comes set just above the belt. Delivers home. 2-2, fouled off the glove and back to the screen. Casey Buckley wears batting gloves while he bats and has a third hanging out of his back left pocket. Why? Couldn't tell you. Umpire here on the third base side. The third base umpire calls time. home plate umpire Sal Giacomo just yelled out to Robert Lathian, who's the third base umpire, we'll do it in between innings. I don't know exactly what they're trying to do.
Yeah, that's not something you see very often.
So after the quick pause in your action, Casey Buckley lines one right past the ankles of Ryan Watt and into center field. The catching position for the Wolverines today has been nothing short of excellent. 3 for 3 with one walk as well, and an RBI. The combination of Nate Voss and Casey Buckley.
Yeah, and very impressive from Buckley, coming off the bench, probably not expecting to play today, as catcher's usually not a position that you're looking to rotate much during the game. But
and even Buckley's not the everyday starter behind the plate. It's typically Gabe Sotrace, the transfer from Michigan State. Jonathan Kim, with his lowly batting average of .448, steps into the box. Some debate between our home plate umpire, Jonathan Kim, Ryan Watt, and Ben Campos as to why there's no pitch thrown yet. Looks like they're ready now as Kim watches a breaking ball spike into the catcher, Campos, and now some chatter from the Western Michigan dugout on the right side. Not too much power for Jonathan Kim here this season. Squares to bunt, but takes. A throw down to first base is not a great one from Campos, still gathered up by Swinehart. They're going to appeal down to third base for Robert Lathian, the umpire. They say no, sir. It's 2-0.
Yeah, and Campos trying to catch Buckley napping there, but unable to, as the throw was just kind of a short arm.
I think that's because Kim is a lefty. He had to maneuver around him. Fastball low and outside. It would have been too low anyway. 3 balls, no strikes with Jonathan Kim. But what's been really impressive about him is his ability to not only be aggressive, but to be patient when called upon. 3-0 count now for Kim as he takes fastball right over the middle of the plate. But now you'd expect him to be full aggressive. It's go time for Jonathan Kim, who doubled in the 4th and flew out for a sacrifice in the 6th inning. Ground out in the 2nd. 3-1 pitch. Swings at it and pops it up behind home plate, fouled off.
Yeah, and Kim, along with Mitch Voigt, have been kind of the early season surprises here for the Wolverines, both moving into everyday roles, Voigt as a pitcher and as a third baseman, and Kim kind of taking over that everyday center field role.
3-2 pitch. Low and outside. Jonathan Kim pulls a walk. Runners on first and second. Michigan looking to push that lead even further after the Mitch Voigt 2-run home run earlier this inning. Casey Buckley singles. Jonathan Kim walks. No action down in the bullpen for Western.
Yeah.
So it looks like this is going to be Ryan Watt the rest of the way. Michigan would figure that Mitch Voigt would go back out there and finish this thing up.
Yeah, unless the Wolverines can tack on another run or two, you would have to imagine.
Here's Cody Jeffress looking to get himself into a positive stance in the stat book here today. Has not been busy at the shortstop position. He takes a strike low and away on an 84-mile-an-hour changeup from Ryan Watt. But he's 0 for 3 at the plate. He was hit by a pitch in his first AB. He line drives one down the right field line. That's going to score one. Buckley's in to score around third. Here comes Jonathan Kim. He will be stopped at third base. It's a stand-up double for Cody Jeffress, and that's what I like to call right on cue. It's 8-3 Wolverines.
Yeah, Jeffress not having much of an impact, as you said, Zach. But, I mean, perfect time to do it. Right here in the 8th, and it looks like we're going to get a mound visit, maybe going to see another pitcher here for the...
I think this is just going to be a stale arm, Stevie.
Looks like he's calling to the bullpen. Yeah, looks like we're going to get a new pitcher for the Broncos.
Yeah, we're going to get our third arm of the inning here for Western Michigan. It's just a frame that will not end. As Ryan Watt scampers off, we will have another Western Michigan pitcher, and Michigan looking, well, to pile it on here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. We will get you the new name when we come back. This is your home for Michigan baseball on WCBN Sports. Michigan set to face off against the third arm of the inning for Western Michigan. And their seventh arm of this afternoon's game that has really carried on since the Wolverines began the scoring here in this eighth inning with the Mitch Voigt 2-run home run. The new pitcher is Matt Hoover, 5'11" right-handed freshman from Buchanan, Michigan. Believe it or not, his best outing of the season so far was against Iowa, one of the stronger teams in the Big Ten. We mentioned earlier Western Michigan is 0-5 against the Big Ten Conference. 2 matchups with Michigan State. They were swept by Iowa in Iowa City. 4 innings on the season, 7 hits, 10 earned runs. He's walked 9, struck out just 4. So not the strongest of freshman seasons for Matt Hoover.
Yeah, it looks like we'll get the infield coming in, trying to keep this game as close as possible.
8-3 Michigan lead. Ted Burton at the plate. Fastball way outside. Bounced into Ben Campbell, who we've mentioned a couple times today has done a terrific job of keeping balls in front of him. He's had some trouble fielding pop-ups behind home plate. I think a lot of that is due to the overcast weather here today. 1-0 pitch to Burton is a fastball that misses high.
Yeah.
Certainly no shortage of velocity for this youngster. 89 on the previous pitch, 88 there.
Yeah. But Hoover's definitely struggled with control with 9 walks through 4 innings so far.
The 2-0 is sliced foul down the right field line and into the parking lot. 1 for 3 day for Ted Burton. He walked back in the 5th, singled in the 7th. Almost hit a fly ball out of the park in the first inning. Then he struck out in the 3rd. 2-1 pitch. Fastball hit high into the air, deep right field. This one's got a chance. Back goes Nevard. He'll watch it fly. Ted Burton's 5th home run of the season. Plates 3 more for Michigan. They're in the double digits. It's an 11-3 Maize and Blue lead.
Yeah, and after it looked like this was going to be a tight one down to the wire, the Wolverines have now exploded for 6 runs in this 8th inning. And maybe they'll be able to let freshman phenom Voigt get a little rest as this game winds down in the top of the 9th.
First at bat for Greg Pace Jr. this afternoon as he sees the fastball ride way outside. He reached back for that one, 90 miles an hour on the gun. Pace bats at 136. 1-0, big swing, fouled off behind home plate. I think he wants a home run of his own. He's got one.
Yeah, he wants to join in on the home run party that we're having in the 8th.
Second home run allowed on the season for Matt Hoover. 1-1 pitch is a slider that misses low and away. That's a good-looking pitch, though, from Hoover. It just missed. But a good change from his 90-mile-an-hour fastball that he threw to Greg Pace on the first pitch of this AB. I think that got a piece of him, don't you think? I think that was a changeup that just wildly missed inside, and Greg Pace just kind of shrugged it off.
Yeah,
Down to first base he goes.
Looks like it might have hit the elbow guard and just kind of deflected right back.
That's why I wear it.
And it looks like we're going to get another visit to the mound. And
they're going to go to the pen for the 4th arm of this inning before the first AB for Brandon Lawrence.
This is not something you see every day, folks. But, wow.
Well, the new score is Michigan 11, Western Michigan 3. The Maize and Blue have exploded, like you said, Stevie, for 6 runs here in the 8th inning. Let's see if they can tack on the extra point when we come back on WCBN Sports. We are ready to see the fourth arm of the inning for Western Michigan. Here in the bottom of the eighth inning, an inning that just will not end for the Broncos. This time it's left-hander Mike Kelly, the 6-foot freshman from Mokena, Illinois, Mount Carmel High School. And we were watching his warm-ups as Brandon Lawrence climbs into the box for his first AB of the game and swings and pops one up out of play behind home plate. Michigan has officially batted around in this eighth inning. It has not been a strong season for Mike Kelly, and it was not a strong warm-up. He was missing the strike zone badly. He misses badly there, and it got, I thought it just got the best part of the catcher Campos, but no, it hit off the toe of Brandon Lawrence. And in his first at-bat, he'll head down to first base. Back-to-back hit by pitch, two different pitchers for Western Michigan. And the Wolverines once again will go to the bench for a replacement in the order. And it's Jake Marty getting his first at-bat.
Yeah, and so far on the season, only 1 out recorded and 7 runs given up for Kelly, and that leads him to the 189 ERA that he currently sits at. Not 1.89, 189.
189 as an ERA. Only 1 out recorded, 7 earned runs, 4 walks, no strikeouts. That was inside. It almost got Jake Marty. The bat boy took a stab at it. Didn't touch it, though. The umpire, he was watching the youngster the whole way. Said he did not touch it, but it's just a loud ball one. Both runners advance. Greg Pace to third. Yeah. Brandon Lawrence to second.
Looks like we got more action in the Western Michigan pen as they just continue to search for answers to get out of this eighth inning.
The 1-0 pitch to Marty. Fastball that's way outside. A long inning, especially for the catcher, Ben Campos. He's taken a couple of ricochets off fastballs in the dirt. He's been left, he's been right, he's been up, he's been down. Infield is now in with runners on second and third. Michigan 11-3. Fastball's high. Not even close for Mike Kelly.
Yeah, if I'm Western Michigan, I don't really see the merit in putting the infield in. You've already gone through 4 pitchers this inning, only recording to...
They're going to intentionally walk him.
Yeah, only recording 1 out. So I would assume...
Are they going to go to the pen again?
I think they are.
They are. Wow. Western Michigan is going to the bullpen for their 5th pitcher of the inning and their 9th pitcher of this baseball game.
Still only 1 out, too.
Still only 1 out. Well, this is a good thing for Western if you're trying to get guys experience, but this experience for them has just been loaded with not hitting the strike zone. 1 out, bottom of the 8th inning. Wolverines lead it 11-3 over in-state rival Western Michigan in a non-conference matchup from Ray Fisher Stadium. This is your home for Michigan baseball. Well, I think this might be a new record of mine, seeing 5 different pitchers in a single inning. And there's still only 1 out. 9th pitcher of the game for Western Michigan. And it's a sophomore from Grand Rapids, Rockford High School, James Geschel, 6'4" right-hander, who, to put it into a better perspective, he does have the best statistics out of really any pitcher that they've thrown out there this inning, because he's even in the walk-to-strikeout ratio with 2-2. He's only thrown 4 1/3 this season, 6 hits, but 7 earned runs. He has not gone a single game this season without allowing an earned run.
And he will face Michigan's
Voigt.
Michigan's Voigt.
Reaches back, delivers curveball low. Mitch Voigt was the second batter in the inning for the Wolverines. He homered home Jack Vanner Mortal, whose spot is now taken up by Jake Marty, who stands at first. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Little cue shot right side. Tough play for the second baseman, who tosses over to first, and Mitch Voigt is retired. Greg Pace Jr. in to score. It's now 12-3 Michigan, and a new batter coming to the plate, Trevor Kalinsky for the Wolverines.
Now pinch hitting for Michigan, number 36, Trevor Kalinsky.
So Kalinsky will bat from the left side. It's a bit of an awkward way of moving towards the plate for the pitcher Geschel as he fires in a fastball for a strike on the outer part of the plate. It's relatively normal in his delivery, but he reaches his right arm, which is his throwing arm, way behind his body. Then comes home with it. Kalinsky rips one down the right field line just over the onward to Omaha sign in foul territory. So quickly 0-2. He's throwing strikes, which is a sign that Western Michigan likes to see.
Yeah, and Kalinsky may have been sending a message to that Western Michigan bullpen with that one.
Stop coming in the game. The 0-2 is a fastball above the zone. I think Geschel nearly thought he got him. He took a slight skip towards the Western Michigan dugout and returns to the mound. That was a good play by me to get Mitch Voigt for the second out of this frame. The 1-2 here to Kalinsky. Popped up left side of the infield. Chasing it back is Sullivan. Rests under it. Oh, man, that almost fell. Nonetheless, makes a catch down by his knees after finally measuring it. And this inning is over. The Wolverines, they get that extra point we talked about. The touchdown and the kick through the uprights for 7 in the bottom of the 8th. Michigan leads at 12-3 from Ray Fisher Stadium. 3 outs to get for what we assume will be Mitch Voigt on the bump when we return on WCBN Sports. A number of defensive substitutions for Michigan here for this top of the 9th inning, looking to put Western Michigan away after a really strong offensive 8th inning. They're going to have one more switch, it looks like. Greg Pace Jr. and Trevor Kalinsky make the long run to switch between right and left field. So the defensive alignment now is Kalinsky in left, Kim in center, Pace Jr. in right. Brandon Lawrence remains at third, Jeffress at short, Burton at second, Jake Marty, the new first baseman, Casey Buckley behind the dish, and Mitch Voigt back to the mound. And he misses with ball 1 to Jimmy Allen. Second pitch to him is fouled off. Back to the screen, it's now 1-1.
Yeah, if you're the Wolverines, you kind of just want to see Mitch Voigt just go right at these hitters, not really mince pitches as it was. Just try to keep that pitch count low, get out of this as quickly as possible.
1-1 from Voigt, who works on the far right side of the rubber. Fouled off through the glove of Casey Buckley, now 1-2. Ever since that first outing for Mitch Voigt, where he walked 4 in 2 innings against Grand Canyon back in mid-February, he has been very good at finding the strike zone. Fastball misses for 2-2. That's the only multi-walk game of the season. In fact, he has not walked a batter, including this game, in 5 consecutive games. Here's the 2-2. Popped up, skied foul.
Yeah, that's especially impressive considering he is a true freshman, and getting your first taste of college experience may be a little giddy, but Mitch Voigt seems right up to the challenge.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Curveball just above the zone. Counts full. With the shortstop, Jimmy Allen, Western Michigan has 6, 7, and 8 in their last chances here from Ray Fisher Stadium. Michigan tacks on 7 in the bottom of the 8th inning to extend their lead. Fastball below the zone, and
there's that good old announcer's jinx.
We've talked about it a couple times today. You've been right all over it. And so for the first time since March 11th, nearly a month, Mitch Voigt has allowed a walk.
Man, not the best start to the inning, but a very good at bat there to draw that walk.
Here's Bobby Deering, takes a fastball in a beautiful spot outside part of the plate for strike 1. Deering tied with 3 others on this roster for the tallest player on the team, 6'5". The 0-1 pitch. High into the air left field. First chance for Kalinsky. Off the bench, makes the catch, relays the throw to the shortstop, Jeffress. And there is 1 away in the 9th inning. So now 8 and 9. The catcher, Ben Campos, has had a long day behind the plate for Western Michigan.
Caught more pitchers than innings he's caught so far.
9 pitchers for the Broncos today. 5 in the 8th inning. He goes fishing for one and golf swings one behind him for strike 1.
Yeah, that was basically a check swing that he somehow made contact with. A little unsure of himself on that one.
No balls and a strike. Mitch Voigt checks on his runner. Crouches and delivers home. A pop up down the right field line. Long run for Pace. Not going to get there. Falls just inside fair territory. Moving to second base is Allen. And it's a single for Ben Campos. Second hit allowed in his appearance out of the bullpen for Mitch Voigt.
Yeah, not great contact on that little jam job. Just kind of found a hole in the defense right there. As fast as Greg Pace is, not able to catch up to that one.
He's also shading right center field. That's a long run. It bounced on the slim tread of what we would call dirt on this all-turf field next to the green turf, which is supposed to be obviously the grass. There's a fastball for a strike to me, and it's 0-1. Top of the order looming for Western Michigan, but they've got some work to do. They trail it by 9 here in the top of the 9th inning. The 0-1. Swing and a miss. Voigt fell off his landing spot and still got him to swing and miss. I think that likely induced some extra movement on the fastball at 93. He is an impressive freshman for the Wolverines. 0-2 pitch, runners on first and second base. Line drive, right field, that's going to fall next to Greg Pace. The bases will be loaded as they will hold the runner. Jake Marty almost trips over the mound on the relay throw. Cuts it off, or Casey Buckley would have had to run way up the third baseline. The bases are now loaded with one away here in the top of the ninth inning. Michigan getting Eamon Horwedel loose down in the pen.
Now pinch hitting for Western Michigan, number 7, Connor Ostrander.
Connor Ostrander steps into the box for the Broncos to bat with the bases loaded. He will take over for Jackson Kitchen, the leadoff man for Western Michigan. First pitch to him is a fastball that misses low. You and I put our mics down about 3 innings ago and said, man, this game is just blowing by. Then we had the bottom of the 8th. 1-0. That's fouled off. Left side of the screen behind home plate.
Yeah, it seems if anything is consistent, that whatever we say, the opposite will happen.
Ostrander, the freshman middle infielder from Granger, Indiana. 1-1. That's not close for Mitch Voigt. Up and out. That one at 78, a changeup that just didn't really go anywhere. Two balls and a strike. Voigt delivers home. Perfect spot outside corner. Levels the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 away. Top of the 9th inning. Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
The bus is pretty much ready to get loaded up. It's out there down the right field line with its hazard lights on. It's 12-3 Michigan, but the bases are loaded here. Fastball misses inside. Casey Buckley had to watch it slide right past the knees of Connor Ostrander.
Yeah, that one almost hit him, but a 3-2 count. It'll be interesting to see how aggressive Western will be on the base paths. I mean, down 9 runs. Definitely don't want to give Michigan a free one on the base paths.
Here's the pitch that's flown into the air, left field. Kalinsky making his way back. Runner from third will tag. Allen will come in to score. Cutoff throw goes to Jeffress. The lead is 12-4, but I think that's a trade that Michigan will be willing to take at this point. They still lead it by 8. Runners on first and second, but they trade a run for the second out of the frame. Western scored 1 run apiece in each the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. And remember, the Wolverines were up just 5-3. Heading into that lengthy bottom of the 8th inning, that would have made it 5-4, but now it's almost like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Here's Morrison. The final Bronco standing in the way. Up the middle, that's going to get past Jeffress. That'll score the runner from second, Ben Campos. And now it's 12-5. RBI single for Will Morrison. His 19th RBI of the season.
And with the meat of the order coming up, it'll be interesting to see if they want to give Voigt another couple opportunities to end this game off, or if they're going to look somewhere else to try and get this final out.
First pitch, curveball, falls in for a strike.
We'll say Voigt's location on some of these pitches has been exquisite. Finding those corners, placing some pitches in places that no hitter can do anything with.
Cade Sullivan at the plate. No balls and a strike. Big swing and a miss. Western down to their final strike this afternoon. Grady Mee is the runner at second. Will Morrison at first after his RBI single. Here's the 0-2 from Mitch Voigt to try and put it away. Thought about biting at a fastball about 2 balls width above the zone and lays off 1-2. 2 runs across for Western Michigan in this frame. 12-5, Michigan leads it. The 1-2 pitch. Fastball just off the plate, maybe a little bit high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I was just interested to look at the Western Michigan pitching stats. 9 pitchers today, 5 in the bottom of the 8th inning. They only threw 152 total pitches. That's 17 pitches per pitcher. The high today was 33 by the starter, Champaign. Curveball misses well outside. It's 3-2.
Yeah, a lot of outings that ended with no runners retired, especially in that 7-run 8th inning.
3 of them, exactly. Count is full with Cade Sullivan, 2 for 4 today. Count is loaded up, the payoff pitch. Bounce towards Voigt, gloved nicely. That's why he plays at the hot corner. Throws it to first. Jake Marty covers it up. And this game is over. Michigan wins 12-5. After a dominant bottom of the 8th inning, they could breathe easily. And Western Michigan now 0-6 against foes from the Big Ten Conference. But the Wolverines, they stay hot. They've now won 7 of the last 8 ball games. And with a 7-run win here, they'll head into a weekend against a good Nebraska team Friday through Sunday with a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, just a real good performance here from Michigan. They went down early, were able to battle back quite quickly. And, yeah, that bottom of the 8th is gonna haunt some of those Western Michigan arms, I will say, as they were kind of, throughout the game, for the most part, they were doing a good job of making Michigan beat them. And Michigan, well, Tito Flores had that 2-run shot. There were some instances where that happened. They were coming right at the hitters, but in that 8th inning, just way too many free passes and hit by pitches to give Michigan the base runners that eventually came home on the Burton and Voigt home runs. So, disappointing game if you're the Broncos, as they were, like you said, Zach, only down 5-3 entering the bottom of the 8th, with a realistic chance of maybe making a 9th inning comeback if they could have held the Wolverines, but not to be. And another good offensive performance here from the Wolverines, just doing a lot, doing everything that they could offensively to push some runs across.
As you mentioned, the offense has been much improved as of late for this Wolverine team, and it's good to see, especially with Big Ten play continuing on this weekend with Nebraska on the clock. Let's take a quick look at the final box score this afternoon as Western Michigan puts across 5. They were on top early. A solo home run from Josh Swinehart to begin the top of the second off Michigan starting pitcher Jacob Denner. But other than that, not too much contact beyond that point. Swinehart had the home run and then the late home run from Cade Sullivan. But other than that, multi-hit performances from Sullivan, multi-hit performance from Ben Campos as well. Jacob Denner started the game for the Wolverines, but boy, it was a long road for Western Michigan and their pitching staff today. The winning pitcher for Michigan is John Torella, his first win of the season. He's now 1-1. Losing pitcher today, Nick Crandell. He's now 0-1. Mitch Voigt picks up the second save of his freshman season. But for the Wolverines, a good day at the plate. They were patient, but they were also aggressive enough when they had to be. Ted Burton with 2 hits. Jack Vanner Mortal with 2 hits. Casey Buckley with 2 hits. 3 RBIs apiece for Mitch Voigt and Tito Flores. And also Ted Burton had 3 RBIs as well. Who were you most impressed with today, Stevie? There's a couple names you could throw out there, but from the offensive side of things, you mentioned Jack Vanner Mortal, but who gets that shining star today for you?
It's got to be Tito Flores. I really liked his approach. He had that sacrifice fly earlier. I think he got a bit unlucky with where he hit the ball. I mean, he was just hitting it where it went, or where it was pitched. And obviously he got that big 2-run shot to put Michigan up 3-1. And I just liked his approach. He had some good at-bats, drew a walk, and he was just not trying to do too much, but also showing off that power, which has been missing for a lot of this season.
So one more time, Michigan winners this afternoon. Final score of 12-5. Again, John Torella, the winning pitcher. Nick Crandell, the losing pitcher for Western Michigan. And the save goes to Mitch Voigt. Signing off from my good friend Stevie MacGregor, my name is Zach Linfield from Ray Fisher Stadium. Wolverines victorious over in-state foe Western Michigan with a 3-game set that will be covered by WCBN this weekend. As we always do, please have a good night and leave you with a Go Blue.